And we're live.
Oh, it's Thursday night, and of course, we are coming in hot as always. A little extra late tonight hour, thanks to me and month end and job. And holy shit, I'm tired, but I'm here. I love getting together with you guys on Thursday night and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, actually, at this point, just because I do get to talk after some long days at work. But thank you, everybody, for joining us on another episode of PM in the PM. That's right, you've tuned in to the number one podcast, at least in our opinions, in the entire world, right here on the Fun Speculation Network. There is no place better than hanging out with Pong and Mab on a Thursday night to talk a little gaming. And mixed bag this week of news, everybody. Holy shit, man. Little bit of everything this week. Some explosive stuff, some really cool announcements as far as gaming goes. So we're going to get into all of it. We do have a hard out tonight at a little bit after 9 o'clock. So just about 2 hours from now. So just to let you guys know, it's going to be a little shorter show tonight. But let's get into it. The man, the myth, the legend. He is still mourning Luca being gone. I'm sure it was bittersweet to watch him light up his team with a triple-double the other night. But he is here. He is pulling through. He is wiping the tears still daily and showing up to do a show. So let's give him a round of applause for the strength he's showing. The one and only Fun Speculation, a.k.a. Mav, CEO of the Fun Speculation Network. What's going on, brother? How the hell are you?
We must persevere. Let's get our guys back healthy. We have a chance. Yeah, man, it's been going good. I've just been gaming, working. Same old, same old. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Vowed, Balatro still are kind of the two main things been playing. But yeah, I've been dabbling in some other games as well. But yeah, I'm kind of got my eyes on this evening a little bit at a game that's launching tonight at 11 our time. And
What
yeah,
could that be?
could it be? Yeah. So I was pondering, not it just caving into the FOMO this time.
Are you
And
going to?
I think so. I'm pretty
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident. I think the latest footage and stuff I've seen, obviously I'm talking about Monster Hunter Wilds.
Of course.
The reviews, the feedback, all the things have kind of I think I'm caving. I can't handle missing another one. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting it, but I've been trying to battle where to get this game. You know, it's
PC, brother.
I know, man. It's like my thing's like, well, if it eventually goes to like the Xbox Anywhere thing, you know what I mean? Like that's a bit bonus for
It
me.
probably won't, though. I'm just gonna put
Yeah.
it out there because it doesn't have cross progression. It's not set up for that at all. So it'd probably be tough to do a play anywhere.
Yeah, it's like it's got like Monster Hunter Rise I put in the Game Pass when it launched on
I
Xbox, so
did.
like you can play it on PC and Xbox,
Mhm.
right, with Game Pass. But this one, no, it's not even in the Xbox PC store, which is just stupid. Like I don't understand why Xbox can't get big games to go into their PC store. So it's either buy it on Steam or buy it on Xbox. And I think I'm gonna get this one on PC. I was asking in the DMs like what you guys are doing and stuff. You said you already got it locked in there. So,
Mhm. Yep.
I know that it's got crossplay, so
It
at
does
least
have
I'm
cross
good
progression.
that way but no cross
Mhm.
progression, so yeah, it is what it is. My hope is maybe eventually it becomes a Game Pass game as well, and then I'll get it Xbox Anywhere that way without having to double dip. But I think that's a
It,
long shot. I don't remember if Worlds ever went to Game Pass.
that's a good question. I think it was in there for a minute.
But if I
I'm pretty
search
sure.
Monster Hunter on the PC store and
Yeah.
Xbox, Worlds doesn't
Yeah.
show up. Only Rise does.
Only Rise does. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um, if you want to do it right now, Mav, if you want to do it, especially like during the show here, Newegg 54.99 with a code. So for Steam, just so you
okay,
know.
that's pretty
So
good
save you 50
because
bucks. Yes, I paid 57 the other day.
yeah,
So
I got a $10 worth of Microsoft rewards that I could use, but
could
that's
use that towards Warriors Abyss as well.
yeah, which I was gonna do earlier today, and
I know.
Kate was like, Well, isn't that other game coming out tonight? I was like, oh yeah,
Yes.
it is. So I,
Uh,
I, I, man, I wish everything was Xbox anywhere. It would just take the decisions
yeah.
out of this
Yeah,
100%,
of
and
course.
I would just
Yeah.
always do that. You know,
Yep.
but it's not currently, so we'll see. Maybe GDC later this month there'll be some more news on some of that stuff, and
Sounds like there's gonna be.
yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So holding out hope with that, but yeah, man. Other than that, been good. What about you?
Nothing much. I put the paste in there, so if you want to look at that, so it's just like a GG deal. It's that new egg and the codes in there.
Right on.
Um,
Thanks.
yeah, no problem. Yeah, so again, been working a lot this week, and obviously, schedule wise, just not a whole lot of time for gaming this week. But I have been plugging away at Avowed still, obviously. As I said, enjoying the hell out of it. Still haven't left the first area, at all. So, I continue to. I'm just, I think, getting close to where I'll move on to the next one. But I still have a bit to explore as well, since I'm exploring everything.
Mhm.
Um, Having a blast. My opinion hasn't changed. Again, I told you guys last week, first impressions, subject to change as I continue to play. Not changing right now. It's a good game. It's a good RPG. And I love the exploration, like flat out. Love the exploration. Um, Having fun with the combat and the magic spells. Now that I got the two spells that I was talking about last week on PM and the PM that I wanted that were locked away. Now that I've got those two spells, feeling really good. Really love the playthrough. I did bump it down to normal too and kept it there. And so it's just a fun time, man. Just having a blast with Avowed. There's really, again, the writing is hit or miss, continues to be hit or miss. Sometimes I'm like, hey, it's pretty damn good. And then the next moment, I'm like, "That's shit. What are you doing? Why?" But it's okay. It's okay. It's a really good game. It's just not a great game, but it's a really good game to me. And I'm having a blast with it. So Avowed continues to be there. And then, of course, this week, as I did post, as you posted too, Mav, I waited long enough. It wasn't on purpose, but I have been on this show multiple times as Mav and even Caitlin have raved about Balatro and said, "Man, that's totally a game that I would probably get addicted to." And again, I watched people play, saw the clips. I was like, "Oh hell yeah!" And I just didn't get around to buying it because there was so much other stuff out there. And what do you know, Mav? What do you know? A little early Christmas for me because Xbox decided to drop it into Game Pass. So, yeah, that's always fun because there's been plenty of games that I have purchased that have wound up in Game Pass later on, right? No big deal. But I got one of those turns this time where a game that I really wanted to play and waited on just kind of dropped in my lap into Game Pass. So it is beautiful. So I've been playing Balatro this week, and I am loving it. And I see why so many people
Nice.
absolutely adore it. And I understand because I am just scratching the surface. Obviously, I have been not a professional in any way, shape, or form, but I had a group of friends. We used to play poker a lot, right?
Yeah.
So I've been a poker player from that standpoint. We did actually play for real money, just not professional, just amongst groups of friends. So I understand the game, but this has so many layers to it and the strategies behind it and trying to decide what jokers I want to keep and what jokers I want to get rid of in my run. And then figuring out exactly what the big blind, like the big blind, if I want to skip it and just move to the boss or not.
Yeah.
Like there are so many different options. And then buying the booster packs, like I'm sorry, and I know people hate that, but I've said this before. I like loot boxes. Okay, I am that dude who, I like gambling.
Right.
I was big into sports cards, right? Uh, Pull tabs were a big thing at one point in my life. I love it. I get addicted to that stuff. I do. It is what it is. So when I saw they had like booster packs, I didn't even know that was a thing. So I was like, oh, okay. So I could take a chance and rip open a pack and see what I get. I get to keep one card or two cards or three cards or whatever it is, or play one right away. Okay, this is dope. So yeah, man, I am getting into Balatro. I think it is really well done, obviously, and then they obviously I'm coming into a point where they've added in the their partnerships with other games to create
Yeah.
cards, right? So there's some really cool shit in there. You know, like I got the cyberpunk spades or whatever it is. Really dope. Like having a mixed deck like that. And then I found out there's multiple decks, right? That you could open up and the different decks do
Yeah.
different things. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, holy shit, how big is this game?
It's
It's kind of
massive.
like Vampire Survivors.
And there's like
Where
8
vampires
difficulty levels on each deck.
yeah, yeah, and I'm like, "What?" And I still don't even understand, like, the anti-system that they got going on. I'm like, I'm still trying to grasp some of that stuff. I'm like, "Wait, there's so much to this." It's like Vampire Survivors when you first started. It's like, "Oh, this cute little
Yeah.
simple game," and then you just keep playing, and it's like, "Oh, what the fuck? What do you mean I can combine 2 different weapons and it forms a whole new weapon? What do you mean there's all these secrets here?" Balatro was a lot like that, especially, again, the Joker setup and figuring out what ones you want to keep and what ones you don't, and then doing some basic algebra in your head, trying to figure out which one's going to give you the biggest
Mhm.
bonus and what you think you're going to have the best chance of getting. That makes all the difference in the
Yeah.
world, man. What an idea. What a fantastic idea. So definitely see why Balatro got all the praise. Now for myself, I knew it. I mean, again, when so many people talk about it as highly as they do, I do. It was a good game, but just getting into it myself, totally get it, man.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Pro
that's what I've
tip
been
for
doing.
anybody playing: if you do like your plus chips and your plus multis first, and then
Yep.
make sure your times multis, the ones that do like
Mhm.
times 2, times 1.5, times 3, are on the back side of your jokers, because the jokers trigger in order, right? So it's like, okay, you
Oh,
get
I didn't
plus
even know
50
that,
chip.
really.
Yeah, I didn't learn that till a while when I was playing. So you may get like
Really?
plus 50 chips,
Can you
then you
move
get
them?
you can move them. You can move them between hands even.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
I didn't
and
know
yep.
that.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
alright.
sir. So you get plus chips and then plus multis. So like, let's say you get like 2 pairs, like 20 times 4, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
okay, so
okay,
you get plus chips, 50
yeah,
plus chips, 70 times
yeah,
4. Okay, if you get plus multi, let's say it's plus 10 multi for a pair, it's 70 times 14, right? So then let's say you have like, hey, you get a really good multi that's like plus 20 multi or whatever,
mhm,
right? Okay, so there's
mhm,
70 plus, I don't remember what it was at, 70 plus 44 or whatever, right?
right,
Okay,
right,
so
right,
then let's say you get a times 1.5, it's going to 1.5 times the 44,
correct,
right?
yeah,
And then if you get another multi on after that, it's going to times whatever that was, right?
mhm,
So let's say it's
right,
like
right,
66, it'll times that. Say it's times 2, so it'll be
yep,
132. So
yep,
your times multis you want to put on the back end. So
yep,
that way it's multiplying the
makes
higher
sense,
multi. Because if you do
correct,
like times 4, you're only getting like on a, let's say you have a times 3 multi. If you do that at the beginning,
yes,
it's only going to do times 4 times 3, so it'd be 12. Right?
correct,
So you just
versus, yeah,
put your times multis
yeah,
on the back end and put your plus multis in the
I didn't
front.
know it did in order.
Yeah. And most of the times multis um are going to be rare, right? Jokers.
Not really.
they also have legendary jokers.
I got, like, common
Well,
twice,
not those are
like
the
the
plus
times 12,
multis.
the times 12, no,
No, those are
the first
plus. There's no times 12. There's plus 12. So there's plus 12 and then there's times like 1.5 times 2
no,
times
the times
3.
1 point okay, I know what you're saying,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I got it,
Yeah, so put the times ones on the back end in
yeah,
order, like 1.5,
yes,
then 2, then 3, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And there's also a joker that has like times 1.5 for each uncommon joker you
mhm,
have. So like if you load up on uncommons, that's really valuable. They also have a thing called negative jokers. So if you get a negative joker, you
mm,
can throw that in and you get an extra joker. So it doesn't matter what that negative joker is, go ahead and add it because it's not taking
mhm,
up a slot.
mhm. That'd be nice. I need one of those.
Yeah, and then you unlock more jokers as you play. You unlock more
Right.
vouchers as you play. You unlock
Correct.
so everything as you play. It's crazy how you learn as you play this game. You get better naturally from understanding. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Which
you
I
don't know.
love that about it.
Yes. I agree. I agree. And like I said, it just keeps opening up more and more. And that's why I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, like,
yeah. You can
okay, there's a
also move the
lot.
cards around in your hand, as Kate says in the chat. You can move them left or right. So say
Oh,
you
really?
get like one of the arcane or things that says like, hey, the select two cards. The left card will turn into the right card.
Oh yeah.
Right,
You can
right.
move them around.
So you can
Really?
like move them around beforehand, so you can select which two cards you want. So you could put like an 8 of diamonds up there on the
Really?
left, and you could put like an ace up there
Hmm.
on the right, and right next to it, select those two cards, and then it'll turn both of them into it'll turn the other one into an ace. But it doesn't tell you this.
No, it doesn't.
You
That's what
have
I'm
to
saying.
learn this from experience.
Interesting.
This is just tips for anybody struggling with Balatro.
Well, thank you. Because I'm not struggling with Balatro, but it's stuff you need to know, especially when you get to the higher levels.
Oh yeah, especially dude. That I beat the highest difficulty on the red deck, which is the first deck. Like I've
Yeah.
beat all the regular decks on the normal difficulties. I've done a couple of the second difficulties. I've done a couple of
How
the
many
special
levels for
decks.
each deck?
I think there's 8.
Okay. I was close to beating it then. Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah, it's like 8 difficulties for each deck.
Yeah, it's a great game. Again, Game Pass. Everybody, go check it out. I'm serious. It's great. It's fucking fantastic.
Super addicting.
Yeah, it is. I know there's a lot to play right now, but that's a perfect game too. The problem is it's just one more run thing, so you do have to control that.
Yeah,
because I did that the other night. Like I was ready. It was like that time I ended perfectly, and I was like, oh, perfect timing. And then I saw the new run button, and I was like,
yeah.
okay, one more, one more, just like Vampire Survivors. Right? There's always the same thing. So I was like, one more, and then I wound up staying up later than I was supposed to. But anyways, great game. Enjoying Balatro, enjoying Avowed. Monster Hunter Wilds is this week, as Mav said. I am locked into PC. In fact, thank you for reminding me, because before I go to bed tonight, after the show, real quick, I have to start pre-download. I have to pull my code from CD and download it. So it's ready to rock and roll tomorrow when I get home. But yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds is going to be massive. You guys didn't see previews hit this week, and unbelievably, really, I think 89.90, I think is what it's at right now. It's stupid. People are saying that it is easier than experienced Monster Hunters would like. But like Steele said, he also, and it's been said that the full version is going to be different from the review version. And obviously they're going to patch and they're going to update things and they're going to include DLC. So as of right now, that's what the reviewers are saying. It's a little too easy for the experienced Monster Hunters. But Steele sent me some reviews from some big time Monster Hunter people who actually said, yeah, that's probably true, but it's still so good that it is absolutely a must play and a must buy for anybody. Like they're like, that might be true, but like it is so damn good that you have to get it. Like everything that they've learned through the years of development on Monster Hunters, they kind of put into this game. So if they're going after a bigger audience, they want to make it more accessible up front for people. I get it. And like I said, they'll add DLC, they'll add things to the game that will, I'm sure, bring the ranked gameplay up to par and will bring that experience back to being hard for Monster Hunter players, the real ones, like the real hunters. But get ready for Monster Hunter Wilds. You're going to be seeing a lot of people playing that game and a lot of people sharing it out. So people are really hyped. Big week.
Yeah.
Big week.
Big week.
So, big week. Let's quick, Mav, shout out the chat here. Then we'll get into some topics. We got the Sea Lord of Bravos in the house. What's up, Sea Lord? He says, I got fairly addicted to Vampire Survivors, so I'm a tad worried about Balatro. LOL. Two different styles of game, but yes, that addiction level could be there. Vampire Survivors, for me, was stupid. Like I was like, yo, like there was some weekends, which is my main game playing, which I usually dedicate to the bigger games that I've got going so I can play for longer sessions. I was spending on Vampire Survivors and I was like, oh my God, this is a problem.
The main difference between those two is like they're both of them are like relaxing and can be like crack, right? But Vampire Survivors is you have to be constantly engaged, right? Like if you start a run, you can't do anything. You're locked in, right?
Yep.
But Balatro is one of those like more relaxing games where you can just sit down your controller, you know, go do a couple things, come back, it's still sitting right there for you. You know what I mean? So it's like
when you're playing the game, Mav, I would argue that you have to pay more attention to Balatro because you got to do math and strategize each hand.
The decisions are a lot harder to make.
Decisions
in
are a ton harder.
Yeah.
Bro, I sat there for like 3 minutes staring at the cards going, what do I want to do? Like, because again, you only got so many discards, so you gotta factor in the discards. You only got so many hands to get to the goal, right? Of wins, of earnings, I should say.
Yeah.
So you got to strategize that. So then you're looking at the cards, and well, you can use your hand that you select to play as part of the discard, because obviously, if there's a couple cards you don't want in there, you want new cards, but you've got, like, let's say a pair. But you could decide to just use your hand kind of as a discard and take the pair and throw a couple stupid cards in there and then get new card. So there is a lot of that. And then you're figuring math, like which is going to give you the most in your head. But then you've got multiplayers that happen, and then that's too much because you can't keep track of it. And sometimes you can get planets. They got planets that can actually increase, like, let's say straights get bonuses, right? Chips and
Yeah.
multiplayer. Like, it gets really nuts. So I got to say, when you're sitting there looking at it, that is much more brain intensive than Vampire Survivors. But Mav is right. You could take breaks from Bellagio, walk away to
Yeah.
hand a card. So you can just do whatever.
Yeah, good
in the
thing
back.
is to, like, early on, like, if you get a good joker that focuses on a certain kind of hand or whatever,
Yes.
focus on building from there and
Yes.
and you may have to switch in the middle depending on what you end up pulling, but
Mhm.
and if you focus on, like, hey, I'm gonna do four of a kind run, it may sound like impossible, but if you take advantage of all the opportunities you have to turn certain cards into like kind cards, then it can be easier
Yep.
than you think. So
Right.
um, yeah, I just love the strategy with that
It is.
game. It is badass.
It is. Def Leopard in here. What's going on, Def? Always great to see you, brother. Thank you for joining the show. We got Razor Ultron 8C4 Life. What's going on, Razor Ultron? Thank you for joining the show, sir. We got Talos Ray in the house. Thank you, Talos, always being here. We got the Ghost Wolf 3599. What's going on, Ghost Wolf? He says, I get to enjoy you all while I'm driving home from work. I just got done doing that, sir. Hope you get home safe and enjoy the conversation. Appreciate you tuning in for that, sir. BT Maverick 707. What's going on, BT? We got the one and only Ray. What's going on, Ray? Oh, he says, never could get into Monster Hunter. That's cool too, brother. Like I said, I never deep dove Monster Hunter and became some really crazy Monster Hunter guy. I used to play it a lot on PSP and Vita, especially. I was a solo player through and through, right? So I want to learn more this time. So we're going to find out how that goes. Steel's going full bore as always. So whatever, we're going to see how that goes. We're going to have a good time. And then we're going to get Mav in there. Like, I want to play this. But yeah, if you can't get into Monster Hunter, shit, there's plenty of games out there. Who cares at this point, man? And you know what you enjoy. That's all that really matters. Know who you are as a gamer. Nathan Hardman, what's going on? He says, good afternoon from New Zealand. That's right. Nathan Hardman doesn't have to take trips to New Zealand. The man lives there. So he gets all the games early anyways. Well, it's not really early because technically for him, it's that correct time. But to us, he gets them early, but not really. Just confuse y'all. But anyways, Nathan Hardman, thank you for joining us from New Zealand, brother. Always appreciate you. We got the You're Wicked Hot. What's going on, You're Wicked Hot? Thank you for being here. We got the beautiful Miss Caitlin in the house. What's going on, beautiful Miss Caitlin? Thank you again for the fabulous thumbnail, as always, my dear. Appreciate you so much. We got the Punty 050 in here. What's going on, Punty? Great to have you a part of the show. We got the one and only Siki. What's going on, Siki? Thank you for joining us, sir. Love seeing you in the chat. We got Mitchie Dies a Lot. What's going on, my friend? Mitchie, great to have you a part of the show. We got the one and only Depka. What's going on, Depka? Thank you for joining us, brother. Appreciate you so much. We got the Fuzzy Tomato in the house. Not the Fuzzy Belvedere, but the Fuzzy Tomato. Thank you, Fuzzy. It says Cyberpunk still isn't in the Xbox PC store. Yeah, you're right. Cyberpunk isn't there either. It is wild how many games aren't in there. Let's see here. Oh my God, he actually said it's wild that LeBron is still better than Luka. Jesus Christ, LeBron fans or something else. Man. Oh God, if there's a group of people, I tell you. Brett Bingham, what's going on, Brett? Great to see you in here. What is going on, brother? We got the Boz Hayes. What's going on, Boz? Thank you for joining the show tonight. We got the Spiton 13 in here. What's going on, Spiton? He says that new Terminator 2 game looks sick. Yeah. Mav and I were talking about that background for like 30 seconds before he hit the go button. Yeah, anybody doesn't know, a Terminator 2D arcade style action platform shooter, whatever you want to call it, the old school style. You guys know what I'm talking about. Just got announced today for September. And it's like legit Terminator 2 stuff. Like the music sounds like it's all licensed. Like they've got everything. They got the T1000. They got everything. It looks dope as fuck, man. It's old school. It just looks so cool, man. I saw that today. I was like, holy shit, man. That's on my list now. Maxhole, 1977. I'm sure he said, what's up, nerds, in here somewhere. Sup, nerds. Sup to you, masshole. We got the Vertung Mogom in the house. What's going on, Vertung? Thank you for joining the show tonight. Appreciate you for being here. We got the E-Ranks, of course, joining us. Thank you, E-Ranks. That's about as there's Masshole saying sup nerds. I knew he was in here with sup nerds. What's going on, sup nerds? We got Buzz jumping in here. What's going on, Buzz? Thank you for being in the show tonight. And they got the Fifth Horseman V. What's going on, Fifth Horseman? He said Monster Hunter Wilds 3.5 hours. Woo! What's up, y'all? That's right, Monster Hunter's coming. Cyber Gunter, Terminator 2D, Dark Fate pre-ordered. Very nice, Cyber Gunter. And thank you for joining the show, brother. Love to hear it, man. Love to hear it. All right, Mabel. Let's get into this, sir. Let's get into this. So, you know what? Let's just start with the thumbnail, Mav. Let's start with the bad. Let's start with the junk. Let's start with that. Okay? Everybody knows this industry is in turmoil right now. At least most people do. Nope. Not game-wise. We're still getting freaking games galore from every which way possible. But obviously the layoffs have continued. And that hasn't stopped. And it's been going for now about 2.5 years, 2 years. And we knew it wasn't going to stop, but it just seems like it can't kind of keep snowballing. Because just when you think a lot of the big stuff has happened, more big stuff happens, especially when it comes to complete studio shutdowns. So this week's no difference. And this wasn't necessarily a shock. Watching the situation from afar, we've talked about this plenty of times. And of course, we're talking about WB's situation. We go back with WB's situation all the way to acquisition season, long before ABK was ever a thing. You can come on this show right here, and you can go on Xbox Ultimate, and you can come on Living Split Screen, and you can hear us all talking about WB and what kind of acquisition that would be for Microsoft and Xbox when they were in trouble, right? And before they had combined with Discovery, right? Well, it's finally all come to fruition at this point. WB, unfortunately, has made some bad mistakes decision-wise from the higher-ups. They have lost a ton of talent. Many of these studios with names like Rocksteady and Monolith, they are no longer the studios that we knew from back in the day, right? They are not the studios that created some of the best Lord of the Ring games, like Shadow of Mordor of all time. They aren't the same studios that created Batman and that entire Arkham series, which is absolutely beloved. They aren't, right? And that's the hard part as gamers. And I think, man, we do that a lot, right? We talk about these studios all the time, and we forget that, the industry back in the day, people stuck around for a long time in the same studio, especially like the founders and the main core group of people. Nowadays, most of those people have moved on or been moved out one way or the other from a lot of these studios. And the industry just isn't stable like that anymore. It is definitely ups and downs and a roller coaster ride. So when we talk about these studios, I mean, perfect example is BioWare. You can bring people back that were once there, but you're not going to have the chemistry that made that studio a great studio. Chances are. Could you recapture it? Sure, you could recapture it. But when we talk about the studios and we have hopes and dreams about them, it most likely is just that, a hope and a dream, and nothing that could be reality. So this week, WB, with the financial issues that they've had on top of the failures of games like Suicide Squad, which, again, personally, I really enjoyed Suicide Squad. I think Mav really enjoyed Suicide Squad. Deal really enjoyed Suicide Squad. But nobody else did, or not a whole lot of people did. Everybody wanted Batman, and Rocksteady was in trouble from the beginning with a monetized battle pass Suicide Squad with characters that nobody really knew or cared about. And then the story came out that you were actually killing the Justice League, or what everybody thought was the Justice League. Of course, now they've gone back and said, oh, no, that was just an alternate reality. Of course, as we always do in movies and comics nowadays, just to get rid of anything we don't like. But it didn't matter. When everybody found that out, that was it. Decisions made. People didn't want it. It was over with. And it utterly failed. Supposedly losses of 200 to 300 million. The only thing, oh, in the meantime, you got Monolith working on Wonder Woman for about the past 5 years. Supposedly restarting this game last year at some point. This game's budget ballooning near 100, $200 million. Not working out the greatest. The only thing keeping WB Game Studios up is, of course, the Harry Potter. Harry Potter's success, without it, they would have been in a lot more trouble. So they refocused this week, reshuffled, and closed down completely Monolith. Shut it down 100%. Warner Brothers, coming from Shinobi 602, of course, it was reported by Mr. Jason Schreier, everybody's favorite reporter out here, but Warner Brothers is shutting down Monolith Productions, canceling Wonder Woman, according to Bloomberg. The studio just celebrated its 30th anniversary last year and created classic titles like Fear, Condemned, and the Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor. Little more information came out today. I'm going to pass this over to Mav here. This is Kami, Okami13 _ on X. Great follow. Does a lot of great breakdowns himself. I love what he does. It says details on the Wonder Woman cancellation and closure of Monolith Productions. Wonder Woman was going to have a nemesis system in reverse where you would talk to people and befriend them as allies. This was eventually scrapped when it was rebooted. That sounds dumb as fuck to me. Why you would not just use the nemesis system, I don't know. But a friendship system, okay, anyways, whatever. I will also add right now, since the Nemesis system was brought up, it also came out from Inside Gaming this week that system is locked to WB until 2036. So unless they sell it, it is locked to them till 2036. Nobody can touch the Nemesis system. Sad day indeed. Wonder Woman began production in June 2021, but was rebooted in late 2023. Okay, so I was wrong, 4 years. My apologies. But it was rebooted last year, like I thought. The game changed directors and it became a more traditional. I always say Gears of War because they put GOW, but I'm pretty sure that he meant God of War. But for the vast majority of us, it is Gears of War when we see GOW style action adventure game. Monolith reportedly wasn't interested in making another Lord of the Rings game after their new original IP was canceled by WB in 2021. Monolith's entire leadership team and many devs quit. That's what I was highlighting when I was talking about that so many people have left the studio. It's not necessarily the studio that it once was. And the fact here, at least as being reported, take it with a grain of salt as much as you want to, as being reported, they had zero interest in working on another Lord of the Rings game. Okay. All right. Okay. So, yeah. I mean, again, this isn't the same studio then, right? And obviously it was because their original IP was turned down by WB. So there was a lot of probably mad people, and that's why they walked. But yeah. Okay. All right. It's not the same Monolith. Monolith was forced to work on Wonder Woman while rebuilding their staff and leadership team at the same time. An impossible situation. Absolutely. This is higher up decisions. This is WB's problem. This is their leadership at the top problem. Of course, they never get fired, right? They never really have the consequences unless things get really bad. They just cut bait and move on when they make mistakes. If this is real, that they were forcing these guys and gals to work on Wonder Woman while they were trying to rebuild their studio and form a leadership team. You can't make a game that way. You can't expect a game to start turning out properly with that kind of turmoil internally. It's not going to happen. Many of the ex-Monolith team formed Cliffhanger Games with EA and are now working on a new Black Panther game. So that ding, 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 ding. We had some rumors on the Black Panther game from EA, Mav, that we talked about. That sounded pretty good. If those turn out to be true, then you've got your big part of your original Lord of the Rings team working on a Black Panther game. So then you start looking at the combat. holy shit, might be pretty dope. Right? So keep your eye on that cliffhanger, Black Panther game, because that means they got a lot of experience over there, especially from the Lord of the Rings team. So that sounds pretty dope to me. Wonder Woman was canceled due to 2024 being a horrible year for WB Games. They lost $200 million on Suicide Squad and another $100 million on Multiverses and Quidditch Champions. This plus the reboot is what led to the cancellation, closure of the studio, and the ousting of their CEO. There's also been a report, Mav, that I'll throw in here and take this with a grain of salt, that the Quidditch game had a budget of $50 to $100 million. If you guys saw the Quidditch game, if you haven't seen the Quidditch game, tell me where the money fucking went. I want in on these robberies. Like, if I have to just learn some basic C++ and call myself a developer and join some squad and get paid for 3, 4, 5 years working on a game that looks like it came from a previous generation, and we're getting top salaries because we have a budget of 50 to 100 million, sign me up. Sign me up. That is ridiculous if it turns out to be true. Monolith devs had no knowledge of the studio's closure. They learned about it Tuesday, shortly before we did. As per usual, that's been happening in this day and age. A lot of devs find out, unfortunately, through social media that they have been let go. They don't even get notified by the higher-ups because the higher-ups just don't have any guts. And it just keeps happening this way. So, overall, I'm sad to see a studio like Monolith with the name go, right? I hate it. I don't want it to happen. But these, unfortunately, publishers and some dev studios, like I said, I'm now on my cynical side of this whole argument, right? I don't like people losing their jobs in any scenario. But lessons got to be learned here. And to have, I know Rocksteady came out and said that they wanted to work on a Suicide game, that was their project they wanted to work on. Again, if that's the case, then the devs made a massive mistake. Okay, if they were the ones that pushed Suicide Squad and convinced the higher ups to make a Suicide Squad game, then that's a massive mistake on the devs' part, because they should have seen the problems they could run into. I have a hard time believing that with the battle pass, with the monetization, with all that bullshit. That's not dev level stuff. That's higher up. We got to make a money maker here. Maybe it was a combination of the two. Maybe that was a deal that was cut to do it that way. But I'm still going to lean that the higher ups of WB are the problem here. They just don't have good instincts for the gaming industry. We see this more and more, right? Back in the day, the higher ups at most of the studios and even some of the big publishers were game people, right? There was a lot of game people. Sure, you had your businessmen. Sure, you had your CFOs. You had your accountants. You had the people that were business minded. But this whole industry flipped, Mav, when things got really big. And now you have less and less game people at the top of these companies, both sometimes even the studio level. You have more of a business acumen people than you do actually dev people. Now, you've still got some great legacy people out here who have been in the industry for a very long time, running studios like Todd Howard, etc. But that is getting less and less. And especially at the publisher level, the game people have all but disappeared, and you got business people in place. And we've seen that they don't have any instincts, most of them. Now, there's some that have instincts. Most of them don't have instincts for gaming, and they make stupid mistakes. And I think that Monolith is a perfect example of that, because you scare off all of your talent because you pull support from an original IP that they wanted to make after they provided you multiple successful games in the Lord of the Rings series. And you take that away from them and don't give them the right to, again, without ever seeing the IP, without even knowing what it is. I'm just tossing it out there as just leaning on the creative side who actually do make games. You have this extremely talented studio of veterans that have proven to you that they can make some really fantastic games and do well for you. And you don't let them do their own project after making you 2 really great games. That seems weird to me. And that seems like a very poor decision, a short-sighted decision on their part to go along with the Suicide decision. this is what I see happen in this industry. And if lessons need to be learned, and that means contraction is going to happen in this industry, which it is right now, but I think it's going to continue at an accelerated rate. And I think we're going to see more of this, especially from the big boys. I think this has to happen. I hate it. I hate to see a studio like Monolith. I hate the fact of knowing that I'm never going to see Monolith pop up on a game again as far as the name goes, because the name has been around for 30 years. I mean, I've just been mentioning Lord of the Rings, but again, as Okami put in his, or I should say, actually, Shinobi did in his statement, Fear. I have the 3 original Fear games. Again, I could play those games. They're scary, but give me big guns, give me enough guns, right? I got through them back in the 360 day. I've got the trilogy. Fear is freaking fantastic. The studio's been around for 30 years. It's a lot of legacy lost here, Mav. So I've talked enough, Mav. I've set this up for you. So Monolith this week, Mav, getting shut down. Again, we had talked about WB being a great purchase for Xbox. Would it have changed anything in the long run? Who the hell knows, right? We can't do that. We've obviously seen some head scratching moves from Xbox since they made acquisitions. So nothing's guaranteed in this industry. It's all high risk. It's all business nowadays. They don't care. But, to see Monolith go out this way, to not even see their last game put out, Mav, which would have been Wonder Woman, is sad to me. So what's your thoughts on Monolith and kind of what's happening here with WB? And do you think there's some bigger stuff with the leadership, or where do you think this kind of falls on for Monolith's failure at this point? What do you think here, Mav?
I think one thing is the Haddad, the guy that was in charge, the one that stepped down. I think he's kind of the fall guy here for them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think they needed to have somebody to kind of throw to the wolves for the shareholders, for the company. Now, obviously, as a lot of decisions may have been up to him. Supposedly, his leadership style was very bad, poor at making decisions, slow to respond to people, always waffling on things and stuff like that, not really clear. But also, a lot of the pressure to create certain kind of games doesn't always necessarily come from one person. It may also come from several people, and I feel like right now they kind of were like, okay, we need to fix this. We need to get confidence back from our shareholders. We need to correct the situation, force them to resign, step down, leak all this information to Schreier, just magically gets out all these behind the scenes stuff around the same time. And we covered this 3 weeks ago on XUP when Schreier's original article came out right after he stepped down, right?
Right.
And a lot of it had a lot of the same information in it. At the time, the decision hadn't been made yet to cancel Wonder Woman. I think they're still in their kind of reorganization phase, and the new leadership is taking a look at everything, trying to reorganize and figure out how to right the ship. But I think a lot of it is okay. Fall Guy, we need to start doing stuff right. We didn't understand the games industry really. We thought we were going to be able to just take our IPs and our franchises and turn them into games of service things, or do this or that, and kind of force these studios into doing specific things and just print money because of the properties that we own. And it turns out that's not necessarily how you deal with your talent that is good at making specific kinds of games, right? And I think it's been a learning process for them. So hey, Haddad's out. Bye. We're gonna leak all this stuff to Schreier, create this whole narrative about how you ruined all this stuff, and now we're on the right track, which is also kind of in Schreier's articles as well, saying that, but things are going to be better now because the new guy in charge wants to make single player games. He wants to do this. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, I kind of see what's going on here. Like the mismanagement from WB at the time, it just same thing has been going on at Sony. Same thing that was going on at Ubisoft for forever. All this kind of stuff. Just not making the decisions based on what the creative teams want to make. The worst mistake was when Monolith, after Lord of the Rings, after the last Shadow of Mordor game, decided, hey, we have this idea for this original IP, and they created this. The worst decision they made was saying no.
Right.
So they said no. Then they tried to force them at the time to implement one of the existing franchises into the kind of game that they were building, and they
Mm,
struggled to do so. This was all from the article 3 weeks ago, right? And at that point, when they struggled to do so, they had canceled that project. WB did, and that's when the talent, the guys that created the Nemesis system, the
right.
people that were in charge and understood how all their technology works, how they built these amazing games, the structure behind the creative vision of what Monolith always has been, bolted. They went and signed a deal with EA. They created Cliffhanger Games, brought a lot of the talent with them.
Hmm.
At that point, Monolith's now a shell of themselves.
Right.
And guess what WB does? It says, okay, well, how about you make a Wonder Woman game, with this system, do we got the Nemesis system, you can make a WB game. Well, it turns out after some time, well, actually first they were working on something else, I believe, and then that got canned. Then the Wonder Woman thing. So the Wonder Woman thing was there. They're working on that, trying to figure out how to make this work with Wonder Woman, how to do the Nemesis system. Well, turns out apparently the people that really knew how that system works and how to implement things left. So now we get reports of like there was this friendship thing. They couldn't really make it work. They didn't really like. So then they were like, okay, well, if you can't make that work, let's just do a more traditional game. Let's just make it an action adventure game. And that
Yeah.
was rebooted, as I guess early last year or late
Hmm.
2023. Don't know exactly when. And
23.
then at this point now, it's still not in good shape. So,
Yeah.
I don't think we're as hard as it is to say, based on what Monolith is today.
Correct.
We're not really losing Monolith. We're losing a shell of Monolith, right? Now, what I've been telling people since I've been talking about this is when you in this era where we're at with game studios, the turmoil and all this stuff, sometimes when we lose a studio, we gain one, right? And we haven't like Cliffhanger Games isn't a household name. We haven't seen anything that they've done yet. But I've been trying to telling some people, if you're excited about Monolith, if you love the kind of games that they make, and you are excited about the talent that was there before, keep your eye on Cliffhanger Games at EA and see how this Black Panther game turns out, because that is your glimmer of hope here, where we subtract one and then we add one, right? And that's kind of what we've been doing a lot in the gaming industry over these last several years, as some of these studios have and publishers have floundered with decisions and crumbled within themselves from waffling, chasing trends, and making horrible decisions. A lot of the talents bolted and made new studios. Some of them have succeeded so far and are going to be able to release their games. Some of them not, because it's always a gamble when you do that too. But I think EA is secure enough to be able, hopefully, to see that game through to the end, and knew what they had when they were able to acquire that talent from WB. Because it's not every day you hear about a brand new studio being formed at EA, already given a brand new name at EA. Um, and I think that they knew, like, okay, this is what we have here. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of the Nemesis system about what's allowed or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't create something kind of similar to it in some form or fashion, being that they're the ones that created it in the first place, right? So keep an eye on Cliffhanger. It sucks to see this kind of stuff. I mean, I can only have hope for the future of the decisions that take place at WB. 3 weeks ago, when we're talking about all this stuff, I started like I was reading the article from Schreier, like,
Right.
and I was just like, wow, like my God, like this is crazy. And it reads like a Ubisoft thing, or like, and it's like, how can they be this dense and naive to gamers and what they want, and not understand the industry at all? And this was kind of um clear at different times, the last couple years, when there was public statements made about their games to the investors and stuff about what their direction they were going, and it was kind of like, doesn't make a lot of sense, because they had the hit with Hogwarts Legacy. Then it was like, oh, we're only going to use a couple of franchises, and we're going to do games as service games, and invest in those things. Well, then turns out that those failed too. right? So they're like, what do we do? Well, apparently everybody wanted another Batman game all along. So I
Right.
guess we'll go ahead and do that again. Like, yes, and going back to the original reports from Schreier on this, like, there was a kind of a thing at WB at the time to get all of these studios to do games of service, right? So that's why Suicide Squad existed, right? Like you, I think that it was a great game. They because the talent of Rocksteady still shines through, despite whatever that is that they create. But it still didn't resonate because it's not ultimately what most people were looking for from Rocksteady that had to wait so long since the last Batman game, right? So
Correct.
it just fell on deaf ears. You can have an amazing game that just, hey, people aren't as interested to play because of the stigma around it, right? And that's kind of what happened here. It's a shame to see such amazing studios and talent just kind of get dissolved because of horrible decisions from the top. It puts everybody in a worse situation. My other hope is that WB starts licensing out their games to other bigger studios out there.
Yeah.
It's Marvel, Disney, like as far as what they've done with movies and all that kind of stuff, you can look at it one way, but as far as how they've done things in more recent years with gaming, they've done more right than wrong as far as allowing creative teams to make games for them. And even if they're not all a home run, we got Midnight Suns from Firaxis, right? We have several different Marvel games being created from different studios in the industry right now. There's multiple Star Wars projects, even Respawn making an RTS game, right? And what I hope for WB is that you don't rely on just the couple of big giant studio talents you have left to fulfill people's craving for DC. And maybe there's opportunity out there for other studios that are talented, that have great vision and have an idea to be able to utilize some of these properties without killing them with license fees and stuff like that. I understand there's always going to be in a negotiation there with your property, but sometimes it's a little bit too rich for anybody to take on. So I think if they open it up a little bit, allow some more people to make some stuff, and then also still create your Rocksteady game, create your WB Montreal games and all that kind of stuff. I think there's reason to have hope for the future. I'm still curious what the hell happened to NetherRealm's second fighting game that was supposed to be before the Mortal Kombat. That was never addressed anywhere at
Because they
any
said they're going to
point.
focus on Mortal Kombat, so are they going to?
Yeah, like I don't know, man. Like who knows what else was going on there? So lots of unanswered questions right now. It's a shame to lose Monolith, who had it wasn't just for me it wasn't just the Lord of the Rings games. Like it was Fear, right?
Yeah.
Condemned. Like they just had a great history of making great franchises and stuff. So I'll look Cliffhanger and see what their talent is it capable of. We've had success stories of talent leaving one studio, forming another, and creating amazing things. Look at Starbreeze and Machine Games and what they've done. Wolfenstein and Indiana Jones are some of the better games over the last couple generations, and that was made from the founders of Starbreeze that made Riddick back in the day, and then now are in chart had founded Machine Games. So there's precedence for this to be able to have some success from these kind of studios. So keeping an eye on Cliffhanger, man. And that's the best I can say to give a glimmer of hope with such a horrible outlook from this. And I got a question like, who's still there at Rocksteady? Who's still there at W Montreal? Who's still there at some of the other big studios that they have? Are they shells of themselves? What somebody has said the other day, like, well, I don't know why Xbox doesn't get Monolith now. Well, like, what are they getting?
They're not getting anything.
Yeah, I mean, they're not getting an IP, right?
No.
They're not getting,
there's
so
no
they're
IP.
getting a shell of what used to be a great studio. Like
Right,
it's
the
not worth
talent's gone.
anything. The only thing that's
No.
worth anything really is the Nemesis system, but then you got to have the talent of the people that know how to operate it and make it work. So
And you would have to buy that separately too.
yeah, I
So
think
that's all.
EA would be more than likely the ones to do a deal for that than anybody.
Yeah,
But
you
we'll
would think
see.
so, right?
Yeah.
You would think so. if they haven't licensed it from them or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. I just you know what's really mind blowing, man, I have to think about. Had you even at the start of this generation, had we pulled up WB and looked at their studios, and had you told me that out of that group of studios, Avalanche Software was going to be the best studio that they got, I would have said, are you freaking crazy right now? Right? Nobody expected Hogwarts Legacy to do what it did.
Yeah.
They got lucky.
Well, they
right?
saw that and they were like, "Oh, we love gaming. Yeah,
Right.
we didn't
Yeah,
expect this, but we
that's
love
what it did
gaming
it.
now."
Well,
Yeah.
it's a Avalanche Software again, folks. And again, NetherRealm's still good, but Mortal Kombat underperformed according to most people. Canceled the DLC. Supposedly, we're not getting DLC for Mortal Kombat, etc. You know, Rocksteady's obviously still got talent. Again, like I said, I like Suicide Squad. Again, there was some really, really good stuff in there. Again, hardly anybody's going to agree with me, but I don't care. So there's still some talent there, and we won't know what was left of Monolith because we don't get to see their last game in Wonder Woman. It's been canceled, so we'll never see what they were making. But the fact is, like Avalanche Software at the beginning of this generation, again, for anybody who doesn't remember, this is their from 2007. This is their list of games until Hogwarts Legacy: Hannah Montana Spotlight World Tour, Bolt, Toy Story 3, Cars 2, Disney Infinity, Disney Infinity 2.0, Disney Infinity 3.0, Cars 3, Driven to Win. That's their game lineup until Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah.
And then they come out with simply just a fantastic fucking Harry Potter game and destroy all the backlash in the media against the game. They just run over everybody, and it's still selling to this day. And now they're working on number 2. But to if you would have told me they were going to be the saviors of what's left of WB, I would have called you fucking insane. But they truly are, because without Hogwarts Legacy, not a lot of this wouldn't have happened. And in fact, to Matt's point, if they didn't have Hogwarts Legacy, they might have already sold off to somebody else at this point. Hogwarts Legacy really kept them in the gaming industry. They probably would have sold off the gaming division because that was a huge rumor. And obviously, we know now for a fact that Xbox had them on their wish list, on their watch list for studios. But yeah, just like I said, sad to see the name Monolith go after 30 years and after, the franchises that they created once, but the nostalgia that a lot of us gamers have for the old companies, and it's not all of them, because again, there's a lot of them that still do have original people sometimes that you go, oh shit, really? But for the most part nowadays, like when we talk about these studios, it's just not their shell, like Mav said, their shadow. They're not themselves. They're just a name at this point. They're not truly that studio that we knew back in the day. So it is what it is. Business moves on. It's a business decision. WB is going to restructure. Again, I wish these companies would stop putting out these stupid commentary afterwards, these stupid announcements of the closures. They're all the same. They just all sound stupid to me. I'm just like, Jesus, just move on. I just announce that you close the studio and move on. You're taking care of your employees and move on. That's all you're doing.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, man, that was pretty sad. And I was super excited, I gotta say, for the Wonder Woman game. I really legit have been hyped for the Wonder Woman game from the teaser. Me and Steele talked about it way back when we first got the teaser. We were both super excited to see what they were going to do. We had high hopes they were going to use the Nemesis system. Again, in my opinion, this friendship system they were trying to pull off sounds stupid as shit to me, but whatever. Okay, fine. But I was super excited for the Wonder Woman game. I wanted to see what they could pull off. I had some very big visions in my head that obviously weren't happening because there was a lot of problems behind the scenes. But man, sucks we're never going to see it. All right, Mavel.
Yeah.
We got kind of the bad news out of the way, brother. We got kind of bad news out.
Bad news.
Bad news. Well, let's jump into the other bad news that happened this week. Huh, Mav? Well, not bad news. Again, to us, it was kind of expected. We've had multiple conversations about this. I think both of us. Were you, Mav, the last time we talked about this, or were we on opposite sides? Fable.
I still had hope because
you had hope. Yeah. Fable got delayed this week. For anybody who doesn't know, again, they didn't have an exact release date, but they had the year window. They said 2025. It was coming this year. We had multiple conversations here about whether or not we thought this was going to happen. Simply because of how many games they have this year, right? Number one, especially when Outer Worlds 2 was a surprise announcement for this year. And supposedly there's still smoke that Gears E-Day could be showing up this year, which is still nuts to me. But just with their lineup this year, with how big of a deal Fable is, right? Number two, how big of a deal that IP is, to make sure you get it right at this point. Again, with your lineup, give it as much time as it needs, whatever. And number three, because obviously GTA 6, the shadow of GTA 6 is looming. Nobody knows for sure when that bomb's going to drop. Nobody knows if it's still going to, I mean, obviously Strauss has now tripled down or doubled down at this point, saying it is going to launch this year, the fall, but we still don't know. So there was multiple reasons why we had that conversation, Mav. But this week, Tina Meany sat down with, and I apologize, guys, my brain is really fried this week, and I haven't reviewed everything again because I just haven't had the time. But who is the new head over Xbox Game Studios now? It's not what's
Greg
his name?
Duncan, I think.
Greg Duncan. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. That sounds right. So Tina Meany sat down with him, and they did a great Xbox kind of surprise podcast where she sat down and she asked him about all the games, Mav. And it was really, again, I got to go back and watch it. I was watching it in between working this week, so it was kind of cut up for me. But Dutch, again, love Tina Meany. Think she's one of the best hires Xbox has had forever. And I thought this was a really cool way to kind of introduce him, right? Because he is obviously the former head of, help me, Mav.
Rare.
Thank you. And Everwild in my head, just couldn't come up with Rare. Everybody, again, forgive me. I'm not on my game tonight.
Old man brain. That's right.
Yeah. Oh, it's bad when you throw in work. Yeah, it's really bad. Anyways, but Rare. So giving him an introduction, right? To everybody out here, and kind of see who he is as a person. I can't remember really hearing him talk. I don't remember even behind the scenes of Rare really seeing him. He was kind of in the shadows a lot. So it kind of put a face to the name that they had announced earlier that was taking over Xbox Game Studios. And so it was a really great sit down, and they kind of went through the game's lineup, Mav, and what it was looking like. And it was really interesting and super personable guy. I thought he did a great job in the interview from, the pieces that I was listening to and stuff. I thought he did great. I thought he really did well. And then they got to Fable, and it was kind of the ending of their conversation. And he came out with it right away, man. And he said, we've got some news, and it's not going to be news everybody wants to hear, but we have decided to move Fable from 2025 to 2026 to obviously give Playground more time to create the best Fable experience possible. But they said they're super excited for Fable, Mav. Obviously, of course, he's not going to say, "Oh God, we're really worried about Fable." We're super excited for Fable. And then on top of that, Mav, we're just going to, again, it's cool, but I'm like, you guys could have like made an announcement and you would have had a lot of viewers. Like they just throw in some new footage.
Yeah.
Now, was it a lot? No, but it was a lot of new footage. Like we got to see like horseback riding. We got to see more combat, right? We got to see new areas that we had not seen before.
Enemies,
exactly. Enemies. We got to see her throw another fireball, right? Which was just, bro, they just throw on these clips while he's talking. So all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, well, this sucks. Fable's delayed to 2026, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden like, oh, but we got new footage. Let's check this shit out. Again, it wasn't unexpected. I was in the camp that said it was going to get moved. I just had a feeling. Again, I think that Fable is too big of an IP that they're bringing back, because this could be again, if Playground pulls this up, and we've talked about this so long, so many years, Playground wanting to be considered one of the best developers in the world. That's their stated public goal that they've made. They've already created the best car RPG that's ever been created. In Forza Horizon, that's they've set the bar time and time again with that game. For them to transfer over and take a beloved IP that has been dormant, like Fable, and create a whole nother team to work on an actual RPG, which is just a massive genre that people fall in love with. If they pull this off, then yeah, they're going to be considered one of the best devs in the world by a lot of people. Number one. Number two, you bring back one of your most storied, beloved franchises, and you have a new team that can now continue that franchise forward into the future, which then now grows that IP back to a massive potential market for you as Xbox. So, yeah, there's every reason in the world to give them all the time that they need. Push it to 2026. You have plenty of games. You have a plethora of games. I'm all on board for dropping everything. You guys know that. My heart of hearts says just drop it. But understanding the business side and understanding taking myself out of it selfishly, yeah, this makes total sense. You now set up for 2026. You can even now, at this point, Mav, push it all the way until the end of 2026. If you've got, we know they've got games for 2026. That's not going to be a problem.
Oh
You
yeah.
could push this as your big holiday game. Give them a whole fucking extra year to polish the shit out of this game. Like, this could come out as the best looking, best high quality, best performing game out of Xboxes in their history. Just knowing that studio and having the utmost faith in what they do. And from what we're seeing, Mav, in the new footage, it looks like they got a lot going on. And it looks like they've got a lot of pieces in place already. Now, yes, did some of the combat animation look a little stiff compared to other combat games we've seen, like Witcher and stuff? Yes, it did. Is that to be expected in pre-alpha footage? Of course it is. So I'm not going to freak out about that. I'm looking at the details of the world. I'm looking at the enemies, man. I'm looking at the lighting. I'm looking at what they're giving me. And just like the last trailer that we got, I'm seeing nothing but, oh yeah, this is Playground Games, the people who gave us Forza Horizon. Sure, this isn't a racing game, but of course they're going to make a game that looks this gorgeous and looks this beautiful. So yeah, I'm cool with this, Mav. But Mav, you, again, I'm not even the biggest Fable fan between the two of us, right? You are obviously the biggest Fable fan between the two of us. You were super hyped for this game. This game was your most anticipated of the year. And obviously, little disappointed. Obviously, you're not going to see it this year, just like I was with Avowed, and just like when we were when Starfield got pushed out, whatever. But man, how you feeling about number one, the interview, right, and the information given, and then these new clips? What are you thinking about Fable? And do you think it comes? I'll just throw this as the last part. Do you think it comes early 2026, or do you think they push it as the big game for holiday 2026? Where do you guess it's going to land? So go ahead, man. What do you
Yeah,
think,
that's
brother?
a that one's a good question. First off, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know, like, because they didn't really 100% clear on the delay. It just said it needs
No.
more time. So,
Yeah.
some people have been speculating, is it, because they're going to be doing day and date on PS5? Is that the reason why as well?
Really?
Um, I've always said release the games when they're ready. So,
Right. Yep.
I
I'm
think
with
it could be a
same
thing
boat.
to where it maybe just needed more time, but also because it needed more time, they're also able to get it out potentially day and date, cross platform as well, right? On multiple platforms. So at that time, is Switch 2 even a possibility for Fable? If it can handle it, not 100% sure because it looks like a super demanding graphical showpiece of a game, right?
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I mean, like the new footage just looked amazing.
Hmm.
Um, if people talk about the combat, you remember another game that people thought, oh, the combat looked a little stiff the first time we
Yeah.
saw the gameplay was Avowed.
Yep.
What's one of the most praised things about Avowed right
Yep.
now is the combat, right? So, it's sometimes just seeing like clips of very like intentional things are
Correct.
going to make people like look at things a little differently. It's not necessarily how normal people play games too when they grab a controller, also, right? So,
Correct.
um, as far as what I've seen from it, I love the enemies, like the werewolf
Yes.
and stuff. It just
Yes.
looks sick. Like, there, I noticed like in that scene with the werewolf, she had set a trap
Hmm.
on the ground, and then that was went to the fight, and then I could see the trap on the ground, so like she backed up, lured the werewolf into it. Like, here's what's gonna happen. Um, it hasn't been my most anticipated game this year. It's been my most anticipated game this generation.
There you
It's
go.
been my most anticipated returning franchise. It's been my most anticipated everything. You know, um, Short of if when we get a next Halo announcement, right? Like Splinter Cell. If we finally see the new Splinter Cell, like there's
Correct.
Fable's been up there with that. Like I can't wait for this game. So yeah, it stings, right? It bums me out just because like, oh man, I've been waiting so long for this to come back. Even before it was officially announced, what, like 5 years ago?
Yeah.
It was rumored for like 2 years that it was a thing, like heavily
Right.
rumored to where people knew that this was being worked on. They knew that writers were writing for it. They knew all this stuff, right? I remember listening to podcasts way before fun speculation existed, talking about that this was a thing that existed. Then it officially got announced. It was like a poorly kept secret, but it eventually got announced. And then here we are, still 5 years later after that. And it's like, okay, I'm finally going to get my Fable, my fix. So, just as a personal thing, it just bums me out that I have to wait longer. But whatever's best for the game. And if it's not ready, it's not ready. I do hope it's not a case of like, well, we just have too much to release this year. So we're going to push it to next year just to clear space and all that kind of stuff. Because really, like in this day and age, or the next, especially this year, next year, you're not doing yourself any favors. I don't think. Like if you look, we did this like 2 months ago, maybe, where we looked at all the possibilities for this year and next year. And since then, we've already had stuff added for 2025
Right.
and stuff added for 2026.
Mhm.
So it's like, well, where do we sit now with 2025 and 2026? I think equally are going to be both like just completely jacked full of awesome games. So at that point, it's just I just stand by, hey, release the games when they're complete and in great shape. And if you need a few more months, take it, right?
Right.
And because there's less pressure now. They like this delay of Fable now
Mhm.
isn't like in 2022 when games got delayed, right? Because it was like we had one game to look forward to this year and you just delayed it, you know? So if a game gets delayed this year, it's like, well, shit. To a lot of us, you're like, okay, you're just doing me a favor, right? But at the end of the day, I think it's still gonna be a thing next year where there's just gonna be too much to play.
Oh
There's
yeah.
just gonna be a ton of stuff to play. I mean, you got Perfect Dark's possibility for next year. You got Contraband's a possibility for next year. State of Decay 3 is a possibility for next year. If Gears doesn't hit this year, it's probably going to hit next year as well. And that's just scratching the surface, right? If a couple of those don't hit next year, there's other games that are going to for sure, right? So, I think you're looking at a loaded couple of years here. But I just want what's the best for the Fable franchise and for that game to come back and hopefully be popular and a big success because I want to see more of it. I saw comments from some ridiculous people type, oh, it's in development hell, all this other kind of stuff. Everything we've heard about Fable has been like, wow, this everything like is great behind the scenes,
Right.
right? And they're creating something special. And they're creating something that they've never created before as a team like Playground. But once they get this game out, like you have the template now,
Right. Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So when you're
Yeah.
creating this something like one of these games for the very first time, you're creating the technology, you're creating the way that things are going to work upon each other. You're creating all these assets for everything, right? Grass, like tree bark. You're creating assets for every single thing under the sun in this brand new world. The way the art style looks, the way that cloth looks, and like everything. So when
Mm.
they take this stuff and after this game's out, like I don't think it would take as long for a Fable 2 or Fable 2 2, whatever you want to call it, like um to come out after this is original creation is invented here. So I want it to be a successful franchise. I want it to be great, and I think it's in good hands because everything I've seen ever since I saw, I think it was like year before last when we saw it for the first time actually running. Um, and when I saw that trailer, it was at Summer Showcase.
Right.
That was the one that got me internally, like the emotional feels because I saw walking in like Bowerstone type, and stuff, and it's like, oh my god, like they captured it. That scene
Right.
right there captured in my mind, Fable, right? And now we obviously it's going to be their take on it, so there's going to be a lot more to learn and a lot more to see. It's not going to be just a one-to-one recreation of what Lionhead did before back in the day, just better graphics. It's going to be,
No,
brought
no.
to this day and age with different takes on things and different maybe combat, the way maybe the leveling system's different. Who knows, right? But the spirit looks like it's there, and for me, that's the most important thing for this. Graphically, it just looks incredible. God, I can't wait for Fable. So, 2026. I know you're a long way away right now, but I think you'll come around as fast as these years are moving by. It'll be here before we know it, especially with this year when we have so much to play. So, overall,
Yeah.
that's the thoughts, man.
It's gonna fly by. Yeah, great thoughts, of course, especially as a big Fable fan, right? And I think overall, like I said, Playground, give them as much time. It's just at this point, it doesn't matter. Like, just give them as much time as they need, and just make sure it's done to as close to perfection as possible. Because again, this is such a storied franchise to be bringing back at this point. But I have the utmost faith in Playground. And again, from what I saw, again, from what I'm seeing on screen, even bits and pieces, and still see people out here dismissing this stuff as not real. It's like Jesus, I,
Yeah.
I, I can't with you people anymore, man. We know
CGI.
for
When are we gonna see gameplay? Like we seen.
we know for a fact, everybody behind the scenes, we've gotten confirmation for a fact that this is legit. What the game has looked like for a very long time. So I trust our source. We will never. We are not insiders, but we have a firsthand source who has confirmed to us for a very long time that this is what the game looks like and how it plays, and this is legit. And I trust this source completely. So, um, I think Playground's going to pull it off. Now, what they do with the story, how they handle the RPG mechanics, that's all yet to be seen. And I want to see that stuff like I was looking forward to. Let me ask you this, Matt, before we move on. With it moving to 2026, breakdown this year completely off. We don't see it again until maybe a developer direct next year or maybe even showcase season next year. Because we were thinking showcase season this year, obviously. If it was going to release, it'd probably be the big showcase deep dive. Do you think that's completely off the table now? Or do you think we
I
could see it at some
I'm wondering if we like just to see another some kind of trailer at Summer Showcase.
Okay.
Because I think most more than like I don't know if it'll be early next year, or if it'll be late last next year, right?
Correct.
It depends on what their slate looks like and all this stuff. I'm hoping for earlier personally, but if it is later next year, then I think whatever year it is, it'll be the big summer showcase direct thing, right?
Okay.
So
Unless it's early next year, then we would see it probably in the January direct, like
i-
we've been getting,
if
right?
if it's like or even if it's early next year,
Yeah,
20 February, we could still see it as like the big summer direct
yeah.
showcase this year
We could.
because they wouldn't have another opportunity to do that big giant 45-minute
No,
direct after E3
no.
show or
Not
summer
unless they did a
showcase.
Starfield direct instead of the January direct, like unless they
Right.
did something weird off the wall. Right.
Yeah. So
You're right.
it's hard to say 100% when it'll
Yeah.
show up next. I think
Yeah.
I've seen enough to that, and I think people are for the most part pretty confident in what they've seen from it
Sure.
so far. So
Yeah.
I don't think there's a whole lot of pressure to show like the next thing, knowing that for all of us knowing that it's 2026. But if you are early 2026, then you got to look at what's our opportunities for showings, right?
Correct.
Do you have the Game Awards for a
Yep.
possibility for a showing? But you're only going to get so much time there,
Yeah. No,
right?
that's how deep dive plays. Yeah.
And
Correct.
yeah, you could do let's say you have a trailer at the Game Awards, you have a direct instead of a shorter direct. Maybe the January direct next year is longer to accompany a longer direct for Fable, or they go ahead and do the longer direct for it this year, and then still have a trailer at the Game Awards. You know, all those are possibilities. Or if it's late next year, then I think you just probably wait and do the big direct at the summer showcase next year, and then maybe something else in fall, right closer to before the game launches.
Yeah.
All's up in the air, but I mean, I can tell you one thing: we're definitely going to see plenty of Fable before it launches. So
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They're not, yeah, for sure. And it looks like they've already got plenty of footage too. Like they keep splicing. Like I would like to see. this year, just my heart of hearts, even if it is late next year when we get a deep dive next year, I would like a 2-minute gameplay trailer, right? At the showcase this year, just announcing like, coming, 2020, second half 2026, whatever they want to do, like whatever time frame. I would love to see it, even if they didn't even put a time frame on there, I could care less. I would just love to see a straight gameplay trailer just to give me a little bit better. Again, as the RPG guy, I want to see what the mechanics are, right? Like I get an idea,
Mhm.
but I want to see some of the inner workings. Like they can save most of it for the deep dive. But even like Starfield, we got glimpses of some of the mechanics like early on, and then we got the deep dive where they just really went all out. So I'm just curious. I just want to see a little bit more. But yeah, I think no matter what, depending on if it is early or if it's late next year, we will get plenty of Fable till launch. I think this is going to be
Yeah.
a big deal for Xbox push with Fable, right? And again, I think we're going to see a lot of Gears in the lead up to Gears at some point
Well,
here too.
that's
That's
what
why
I
I'm
want
still
to ask you about
yeah, go ahead.
that too, because like
Yeah,
part of the speculation has been out there because like
yeah,
okay, the end of this year, so we still got Outer Worlds 2 at some point. Ninja
correct,
Gaiden 4 will be
correct,
later this year as well.
correct.
Um, and more, and there'll be a Call of Duty again this year, right?
Yep, yep,
GTA 6 is still slated for fall right
still
now.
is. Correct.
So, with all of those things being said, um, if Gears Ide is actually ready this year,
Yeah,
would that have, do you think, led their decision to give Fable more time? I mean, there's not pressure on either of them to release this year. I don't
I don't
think.
think there is. You could have next year with Fable and Gears
But
together.
let's
Like,
say that Gears team's like, "Hey, we're ready
wow.
to roll." You know what I mean?
Well,
And
right,
do they
right.
like with how do they weigh that? Like, or do they
Well, if
say drop them
Coalition's
both?
ready,
Or
yeah, I think. Well, if Coalition's ready, Coalition's ready. I mean, again, if that, and again,
but would they
Coalition's
have pushed Fable because their coalition's ready?
I think they would. I no, I don't think so. I think it's just a fact of giving Fable as much time as necessary. I
Right.
just think honestly, Playground, there's just so much potential here to bring this franchise back.
Yeah.
It's just,
There's a lot
and
of
again,
pressure on it to succeed, I think, internally.
there's a lot of pressure on it to succeed, but there's still Playground themselves are putting pressure on themselves
Yeah.
be, because again, publicly stating you want to become one of the best studios in the world. Not every studio says that. You can sit back and go, "Well, everybody's going to say that." Not everybody publicly says that as a studio. Like that's like legitimately their goal. And I think they've earned the right, Mav, with Forza
Yeah.
Horizon to take as much time as they freaking want with this massive IP and get it right. So maybe I think that more so they just looked at it and said, give us another year.
Yeah.
Let's make sure this thing is absolutely as close to perfection as possible."
I sense that like behind the scenes at Xbox, they know they have something super special with Fable, and they
Very
want to make
possibly.
sure that it hits like it should,
Yes.
right? Because of
Right.
what it is. You know, it's
Yep.
like, wow, we got I just get this confidence of like
Because
this
Playground.
is
Yeah.
a fucking gem
Mhm.
that we have here, right? This franchise has been dormant for a long time. We've been working on this game for forever, and we hit like what they have created is something that I think is like crazy special. So, how do we make sure that nothing goes wrong at launch for this game?
Right.
Like because when you have something, I think like that, you could just have the utmost confidence to say, "Hey, it doesn't matter when we release it; it's just going to be a phenomenon." But like we've seen great games not be successful for whatever other reasons before as well, right? So it's kind of it's just interesting to think about how the psychology would work if you're in charge of releasing these games. I think the most glaring thing and the most important thing though is that we know the pressure. I think it probably could have released this year if they needed it to, but like the pressure is off right now for these because of the amount of games that they have to like have to hit this like stone cold deadline or else the year is fucked, right?
I know. I think Outer Worlds 2 popping up this year probably solidified that for
Yeah,
sure. Even without Gears, let's just take
which
Gears
was a
out. Like,
shock. Outer
right,
Worlds
Outer
2 is
Worlds
yeah.
2 showing up out of
Yeah.
nowhere this year, being ready when you pushed Avowed
Yeah,
into
we
this
had
year.
only seen that
Like,
one trailers
Right.
before too.
One
You know,
trailer,
it's like,
teaser trailer.
yeah,
But to have bookend RPGs already with Avowed and then Outer Worlds 2 now, like you're set. And then you've, obviously got the other stuff in between, Doom obviously being a big one.
yeah.
I mean, you're set. Think about this. Let's say Gears isn't this year, Mav. Like again, these
20,
years get
we
so
see
crazy, but I'm just
2025 is gonna be the best ever for Xbox, but 2026
right,
could
right.
be, you know,
2026, you could have Gears, you could have Clockwork Revolution more than likely, right? And then you could we could have Everwild by the sounds of it. And then you could have Playground with 2 games next year, man. You could have Forza Horizon
yeah. Oh,
6
let me throw
and
this
on
at you.
top of Fable to end the year.
Let me throw this out at you. Just
Yeah,
for
go ahead.
just for hypothetical
Go
crazy
ahead.
speculation and fun.
Yeah,
Okay. Let's say the end of next year is also the launch of next gen.
right, correct.
Let's just say that
Get
is a
one of your
thing
systems out
and
this year.
it
Yep.
happens. Let's say
Mhm.
they also have something Halo for next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. You could have
Imagine
the full 4 again.
launching a next gen Xbox console and having a Halo, a
Gears.
Gears, a Forza, and a Fable.
Right. Well, we've talked about this launch lineup, what it could be.
It
And
I
again, the
mean,
Skyrim rumors are starting to get crazy too.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
even
yeah.
want to think about it. But anyways, yes. Or not
Or
Skyrim, but I mean,
Oblivion.
Elder
Yeah.
Scrolls 6.
Oh, Elder Scrolls 6, yeah. If that happened,
Yeah.
well, if we go back to the original timeline, then that would be 3 years after Starfield is when they had planned originally for Elder Scrolls
Right?
6 to launch. So I don't know if they're on track for that or what, but
Right?
like it could it's like just hypothetically, if that happened,
Hypothetically.
like
Yes.
it would be nuts. And it would be like, hey, Xbox in full force, like and add Perfect Dark to that.
Yeah. Yeah, when
I
is
yeah.
Perfect Dark is supposed to be next year too, right?
Yeah, that was the when everybody was speculating about which a game that was scheduled for
Oh,
2025 internally that was pushed to
you seen that
2026.
lineup?
The insiders were all saying that game was Perfect Dark. So that they had thought Perfect Dark might
We'll
be
keep
ready.
Elder Scrolls out because I still think that Todd and his team will take extra time just like they do with Star. I see it as 2027. I just can't see it next year. I will keep that. But Gears, Forza, Fable, Perfect Dark, Everwild, and Clockwork Revolution.
I think Everwild could be this year
Do you?
because of the like
Yeah.
January 1st like New Year's
Yeah.
tease from Rare. You know, they had
Yeah.
a snippet of Everwild. I kind of get this gist of like they're
The per-
on the cusp maybe of starting to reveal some more stuff with that game. But
That's fine. I mean,
who
if
knows?
they
If
do,
it's not
that's
this year's
fine.
next again,
I mean,
if
it's not.
it's
It's gotta be not.
either
I don't think
2025 is fucking crazy or
Yeah,
2026 is going to be even
they're
more
both
crazy.
crazy. They're
Yeah.
both fucking crazy. Just next year, you could be talking about some of the biggest hitters in Xbox. Like just generally speaking, like you
Yeah.
said, if they got something new for Halo in there too, holy shit!
Yeah.
Like
I
that'd
mean
be
a long shot on that, but
that's a long shot, right? But I'm just saying, you never know because they've had other people working on it, right? So who
yeah.
knows, right? Yo, yeah, next year is just when I start going through it because again, I totally forgot Perfect Dark was, of course, next year as well.
Yeah, I
Um,
forgot about Clockwork Revolution.
yeah, and
Probably like
Clockwork Revolution could be a freaking
yeah.
game of the year contender too. When that shit shows up, people are going to be forgetting about it, and it's going to show up out of the blue. So, yeah, man. Just to say that all this is just to say that both of these years are just completely stacked, and we talked about this, man, how this was all lining up, and that all these studios are going to be ready, and there's going to be more games, Mav, because there are stuff that are being worked. There's still partnerships, a lot of partnerships that they've partnered with people out there that we're gonna get those games eventually too, like IO Interactive, right? Could be still a partnership there, right? We've got the Brass Line and the Wu Tang game that's still in production, right? That's Xbox partnership. So we've got Contraband at some point here, Mav. That could be next year on top of everything else. Is next year a 10, 12 first party game launch like lineup. Like that it is wild to think where we came from at the beginning of this generation in terms of output to everything that we talked about and the delays and the problems and the pandemic and everything else. And now here it is, Mav. And it's just boom, 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 one after another. They keep coming.
Oh, and Craig Duncan too is something else that he said is
Yeah.
like, we have so much stuff that people don't know about.
Right. And they've got more studios now, Mav. They're
Yeah.
forming new studios.
I mean,
They've got
like
things
the
in
Tony Hawk
Activision we
thing
don't know about it.
in a
Yes.
week, we're gonna get an
Yes.
announcement, or less than a week.
Right.
We're
Of
gonna get an
3 and 4.
announcement of 3 and 4 remaster probably coming to
Yeah.
Xbox and Game Pass this year, which is another
And we still
thing
gotta
that
get
we
1 and
didn't
2.
know
So
about.
I'm assuming 1 and 2 is gonna be in Game Pass now, so I get to play those. But yeah, that's another thing we didn't know about. They still got this whole back catalog that they're holding for some fucking ungodly reason. But yeah, this is nuts. This is nuts, man. Again, every
Crazy.
time we do this, I genuinely know it in the back of my head, like going all the way back, Mav, 3 years ago,
Yeah.
2.5
Well,
years
like
ago, when you
when I made
created
the
that whole
list.
list.
Yeah.
When you created that
Yeah.
whole, like, still from that, like, we knew it. We kept saying it over and over again that we were going to come to this point. But now we're here, and it's still legit. Like, this is legit.
It's crazier than what I
excitement
thought it
thing
was gonna be,
going,
though.
holy fuck,
Yeah.
yes.
Because
It is.
it took longer to get there,
Mhm.
because they had the hiccups of
Yeah,
2022,
and
you
the
know,
backlog got bigger and bigger and bigger,
and
and
then
now it's all
2023
just
was
yeah.
backloaded, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it was like you had like a year and a half there where it was kind of pretty light, right? And then you
Mhm.
got to where, hey, everybody's got caught up at the same time. And now we have this like 2 year, and I think even after that, it's going to be like regular cadence, like amazing,
Correct.
like 100%. But I
Because
think you
they're
have
now
this
on a
kind of
cycle.
like, I think you have this kind of this like cluster fuck of games that are close to being
Yep.
ready, like all at the same time. I mean, things like Ninja Gaiden we found out that they had been started talking about that 6 7 years ago.
Right.
You know, and how many more
Well,
of those?
there's probably more stuff in the East
Yeah,
because Phil and Sarah both said that there's a lot of stuff they did work. We've seen some have come, like Atlas and that kind of stuff showing up. But how many deals did they cut to start making games like Ninja Gaiden 4 for Xbox when they were working the East heavily, right? Because again, like you said, nobody knew that. Hmm.
man.
What else is out there, Mav?
I mean, there's gonna be some. You know, like
We got
it's
movies
how
and
many.
shows.
That was my first thought after the Ninja Gaiden thing, and after I heard about it, how it started 6 years ago, I was like, we always
Yeah.
kept hearing about the Phil trips to Japan, the meetings and all this stuff.
Mhm.
What else?
What else?
What else don't we know about right now? Right? We have Overdose at some point.
Yep.
OD coming around the
OD.
corner. Probably, I don't know if that's 2026, 2027, whatever. But I mean, you got different creators making different kinds of games and all these different genres, different kinds of
Mhm.
variety, um, all hitting on all cylinders now and at quality too. You know,
Mhm.
so love it, man.
I do too. I just think it's fantastic. I just get genuinely excited when we start talking. Like I couldn't believe it when I started thinking. I'm like, oh wait, they could have Forza next year, on top of Fable. We could have a double playground year next year. Like that's wild.
Double
Uh
City in this year, double Playground next year.
yeah. Like what? Speaking of, we'll keep it on playground here real quick. And speaking of Forza Horizon, they had a big announcement today, Mav. For anybody who wasn't paying attention, Forza Horizon 5, of course, they're prepping for the PlayStation 5 launch. We did get confirmation for anybody who's wondering. The best version will be on PlayStation 5 Pro. Again, this is something we talked about. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I said this a long time ago. You're going to see Xbox games right now with just the way things are set up. The best versions are going to come to PlayStation 5 Pro. People are touting this and laughing about it, whatever else. Some people are very mad about it. Again, this is to be expected, but Mav, they did announce one of their biggest updates ever for Forza Horizon 5, and that's coming on April 25th. So it might be time to re-download Forza Horizon. This April, the Horizon Festival evolves with Horizon Realms. This brand new feature will let players dig into Forza Horizon 5's history of evolving world updates, explore 12 fantastic evolving world locations, 11 of the best previously limited locations, and the premiering stadium track. Collect New Horizon Realms exclusive accolades to unlock, 4 new to Horizon reward cars, revisit your favorite environments, or discover them for the first time in Horizon Realms, available for every platform, April the 25th. Horizon Realms gives the players a chance to explore a hand-picked collection of some of the community's favorite previously released evolving world updates, including Stunt Park, Ice Rink, Oval Track, Summer Party, Neon Airstrip, Dia de Muertos, Winter Wonderland, Lunar Drift Arena, Retro Wave Highway, Cars and Coffee, and Stadium Maze. Those are the 11, and then the brand new stadium track. And they're going to have a new dedicated accolade tab as well. So, a new accolade tab exclusive to Horizon Realms will be added to the game, featuring 60 plus accolades. While most of them are new to this update, you will also be able to unlock previously released accolades tied to the returning evolving worlds that are now accessible with Horizon Realms. Bam. I mean, the 4 new cars, I know a lot of people, Fuzzy and everybody, new cars, Lamborghinis, the 2024 Lamborghini Revelta, I think is how they say it. I forgot how they do that one. A Lamborghini Huracan Storado, and the Lotus Exige Cup 430, and then the Hennessy Mammoth 6x6. Those are going to be your 4 special cars. So Playground's not done, Mav. They just, again, they're probably working on the new Horizon, or the new Horizon game as well. But there's going to do a big giant fucking update for everybody too on Horizons to celebrate, and obviously include the PlayStation 5 players now who are going to start to enjoy this game for the first time.
Yeah, and I think they were getting help with the support too from, I forget the name of the studio, the Virtuous or something like that.
Okay.
I can't remember with the studio that was helping with that. But anyway,
Okay.
yeah, the
Yeah.
yeah, I like as far as the PS5 Pro enhancements, like
Yes.
something that we called early, you know what I mean? And it was even before Xbox decided to start putting games on over there, because I knew it was going to be a thing with even like
Oh,
the other games that did exist, like Call of Duty and
yep.
stuff that we knew were already over there, that it was going to be, well, people are going to say they have the best version of Call of Duty and the best version of this, and like over however long it takes an Xbox to get their next hardware out, how long is that power narrative going to come back
Yep.
to bite them? For whatever it's worth, we also know the PS5 is selling less than PS4 Pro did. PS5
Sure.
Pro is selling much less than PS5. PS5 Pro is selling much less than PS4 Pro did. So at the end of the day, it's like how many players is it benefiting and all that kind of stuff. I think the best experience, if you want it, is still on PC.
Of course.
Forza Horizon 5.
Hmm.
When I was
Nice.
playing on
Fired in.
PC, oh my god, dude! Like I was I I know like what how good Forza Motorsport looked on PC, but like it's a different kind of game, right? It's, it's track based and stuff. But when I loaded up Forza Horizon 5, and just like that whole open world and like the scenery and everything, it's like, dude, it is just absolutely amazing. So at the end of the day, I don't think it's really gonna come back to haunt them, because it's like, if I don't think Forza Horizon 5 is going to like move PS5 Pros. You know what I mean?
It's just a benefit, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a
Yeah.
benefit, and the same thing with all the other games that are getting PS5 Pro enhancements. Like, I expect the developers to fully utilize whatever they're releasing on. This is the argument to say, well, Xbox could have done a mid-gen refresh also, right? But after seeing what the PS5 Pro is and how much it is and the benefits that you're getting,
Mhm.
I think very few of us were still advocating for that. I backed off of it after I saw after the PS5 Pro release, and I see what the benefits are versus what you had to pay for it. It's not worth it for me. So I think the Series X version is amazing still. And if you want the best version, definitely get a higher end PC. And if you want to buy the game again to get a little bit better version than what you had, go spend $800 and or 700 something dollars on a PS5 Pro and buy the game again over there. Like, at the end of the day, I'm just glad for the PlayStation players that never got a chance to play Forza Horizon before that have always been like, no, like it's not on my platform, so I can't get it or I'm not interested in it. To get a chance to play this damn game, right?
Right.
If they get a little bit better ray tracing, or if they get a little bit better frames options, it already runs at like seems 4K. I don't know what it is. I think it's 4K 60, like on a Series X, which is kind of like a sweet spot for me. So
Yep.
whatever benefits they get, but for that, cool. Like it doesn't make me upset or whatever. But it is interesting how the marketing of that can take into effect versus just from a
Mm.
hardware perspective. But it doesn't seem like it's been doing PS5 Pro any favors so far either, comparative to last gen. So
It's all in the eye of the older
yeah,
man. You
and
got the money, and it's just not that. It's never was going to be the massive mover. We knew
yeah.
that. It was for the
The
enthusiasts,
good
right?
news is if you are on Xbox and you do wait out and get a next gen console whenever they release them,
Yeah.
a lot of the games get free updates on Xbox.
And it might be even better next gen.
Right.
This whole hybrid super like this again, the AI, what they're doing. Again, whatever you guys think of AI, I know this is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
very divisive in this community over AI and about where the gaming industry it's happening. So it doesn't fucking matter. Again, they don't care. So it's happening. So decide one way or the other. If you're only going to play handcrafted games from here on out for the rest of your life, that group of handcrafted games is going to get smaller and smaller, right? There's going to be AI used in just about everywhere in this industry, right? So got to make your calls now, make your decisions, stand on your hills, speak with your wallets, do all that good shit, bitch, moan, complain, talk about it, discuss it. That's all everybody's right. But the AI is coming in. Microsoft and Xbox, oh, they're leading the way. So all you had to do is hear about Satya and they're bringing AI to GDC. The games are coming, right? AI shit is here to stay. But the good part is what I was going to say is that we could see with the older games map even bigger benefits and upgrades free as we get into the next
Yeah.
generation with these new chips and stuff. Like it could be crazy what they're going to be able to do. So I've already played with frame gen on Monster Hunter Wilds. Monster Hunter Wilds has the new frame gen AI in it. Um, I can't tell the fucking difference. You know, I can't. So got people out here saying they only want to play native and they won't use the frame gen. That's cool too. Go for it. I was using it because I wanted my 4K on my OLED at high frame rates, and I was getting over 100 frames at 4K. I couldn't tell the difference, and the picture looked fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So again, is it a crutch? Absolutely. Are studios using lots of crutches and devs using lots of crutches? Yeah, they sure are. They're not going to stop now, especially when everybody's complaining about the time cost involved in games. It's just not going to happen. They're going to use this AI. It's going to cost people their jobs. It's going to make a lot of games. So as a gamer, you got to decide which way you're going to move forward because they aren't turning back, man. Technology just keeps moving on and moving on. It does. So, but I can't wait for the older game shit. I can't wait. I think it could be cool as shit if we can get some of the older games playing. Even better. That'll be fun.
100%. I love free updates on these games.
Oh god, hell yeah, man.
That's one thing
Always.
I love Xbox does really well. They keep supporting their games.
Yep. And again, shout out to Ubisoft, another company that did that with a lot of their games.
100%.
Again,
As much shit
unbelievable.
as we make
Yep.
over decisions on which games to make
Right.
and stuff like that, as far as like consumer and value for to the consumer,
Yep.
Ubisoft is definitely one of the best ones out there.
Shit, yeah.
Um,
Crazy.
man, that like I don't know if you got a little time to talk GDC.
I do have a little time, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I got a little time. What do you
that
want to talk about
because well
GDC,
the
brother?
Xbox is going to be at GDC.
They are.
Which we talked about it a couple times because they had already made this announcement in December that they were going to announce more Xbox Anywhere stuff and Xbox app conversation. They had more Xbox app talk at GDC in March, and they just reiterated that a couple times through different exec accounts and through their own socials and stuff like that. And I think they are really trying to push the Xbox Anywhere thing at GDC and
Yes.
to drive home some kind of bigger behind the scenes thing that is they're going to be showing devs and stuff, which could be exciting. I don't know what it is, but this whatever this stuff is what late last year, some in the community circles that seem to have known some things were excited about.
I'll read the
So it's
short
interesting.
article here. I'll read the short article real quick here from Tammy Levine, General Manager of Developer Marketing at Microsoft. This was the article that Tom Warren had posted this week about this. It says, as we gear up for Game Developers Conference GDC 2025, we couldn't be more excited to meet up with our friends and colleagues in the industry and explore the many incredible new opportunities that await. This year, GDC takes place from March 17th through the 21st at the Moscone Convention Center in San Francisco, California. We'll host partner meetings, participate in conference sessions, and sponsor events like the IGF Awards and the ESA Foundation's Night to Unite. Attendees that come by the Xbox Lounge in the Moscow South will have a chance to see the latest Xbox experience on PC, join in with a Q&A with the Xbox development expert, and learn about the opportunities and benefits of building with Xbox across PC, cloud, and console. Xbox is expanding to any screen on any device, making it easier for anyone to play with the friends they want. Whether they choose to play with Xbox consoles, PC, smart TV, or mobile at GDC, we're inviting game developers to go behind the scenes to better understand what it means for Xbox to be playable on any screen. We're committed to empowering game developers to tap into that opportunity by building cross-capable games that take advantage of Xbox across devices. Our presence will reveal the many ways game developers can reach more players with Xbox and showcase success stories of developers who are maximizing the opportunity. Whether you're an indie developer or a seasoned professional, Xbox speakers will be presenting insights for every stage of your developmental journey. Check out our full schedule below, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, Mav, they are absolutely pushing this initiative, right? And they want more developers on board. That's a given. And they're going to have to sell this. This is
Yeah.
now their platform everywhere, right? So now they got to sell it. Now they got to convince people to use it. Now they got to show the benefits. Now they got to do all that kind of stuff. And this is a big step at GDC, obviously, to move towards that direction. And I'm sure they're going to start giving people glimpses of kind of what their vision for the future is and what this really means and how they're going to expand upon it because they're not done. This isn't the final form of Xbox. We're not even close to what the final form of Xbox is potentially. Again, it's all potential. But I think that this is what they're doing now, Matt. It's no dipping the toes in the water. This is it. We're done.
Yep.
We're going this way. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, it's something I think is interesting that like for like you said, this is Xbox now, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, this is what their initiative is. This is what their identity is. This is what their branding is. But people don't understand it quite yet.
right.
Not enough developers are just 100% going full on board with it. You
Yep.
see it more with the games that they've done deals with, whether it be marketing deals or Game Pass deals or whatever. You know, they're getting some of those developers on board, but not just like the organic releases, right? Like I talked
Right.
earlier on the intros, like Monster Hunter Wilds isn't on the Xbox PC store. It's not Xbox anywhere. That kind of sucks. It would be amazing if, and I think as consumers, should be something that we all ask for to access to our games wherever we are. You know what I mean? Like if you buy a game, I would like to be able to stream it. I'd like to be able to play it on my console. I'd like to be able to play it on my PC, right? Now, of course, the companies, the big publishers would be like, well, I want to sell my game twice. But how many customers are really double dipping? You know what I mean? And can they attract more customers by opening up to be more approachable and lowering the barrier for entry to where you don't even necessarily even need a piece of hardware to access your content, right? So I think those are the kind of things that Xbox is going to try and push and sell about the advantages of not being dedicated to just one sole piece of hardware per license, right? And look at it like, hey, look at if you buy this, you can access it here. So what if you put your game um on the Xbox anywhere, if you make it accessible anywhere, you don't need to buy it. You don't even need to own an Xbox. You don't even need to own a PC. You don't even need to or let's say if you just have a PC and then later you get something else, you travel or whatever, like all the different benefits to owning a game in that storefront is immense. But consumers have to understand that, and also the developers do. And I understand it well because I utilize the hell out of it, right? Like I I have become this gamer. I never thought I would be, right? But because of the access that I have to my games, because of the strength of the internet connection and all these other kind of things, I have become the gamer that games on the PC. I game on the Xbox. I game on the cloud a lot. So if I have a game I'm looking to buy, for me it's way more valuable if it's there in that ecosystem because I don't have to. It takes the decision making out of the equation. It's an obvious choice for me. Buy it on the Xbox store if that is supported, right? Um, Now the developers are like, well, just release on Steam, release on this. We don't need that, you know. Maybe that's the case, and it probably is right now. But can you attract if this ecosystem is really fully supported? If they get all these developers on board, if the library of games that are Xbox Anywhere just becomes to where it's more of an organic thing, almost every single game is Xbox Anywhere, all that kind of stuff. The amount of people that could learn about it, be attracted to that ecosystem would be beneficial to the publishers as well, because then you're attracting customers that don't even have hardware. You don't have lowering the barrier of entry, right? So, I'm 100% on board for that future. I worry about the greed of the publishers getting in the way of it, and not understanding the potential benefits if everybody comes together to support something like this, right? But I think that's
Yeah.
where future's headed. But like with Xbox, like is this another thing they're doing too soon, right? To like lessen the value of the console and then pushing this initiative. Is it another one of their like too soon moments? I think time will tell. But I hope not because I want this to succeed because for it's better for us,
Yeah.
right? It's better for
Completely.
us as customers. And I'm thinking that probably they're going to show them stuff behind the scenes that's not ready yet, right? That is like, hey, this is coming and this is going to be a game changer for you, for the customers, all that kind of stuff. So we'll see if they have it. I don't know what kind of news is going to come out. I think they're probably going to announce another load of games for a stream your own game feature on Game Pass. Because they made this announcement when they did the first initial dumping of games. They when they added the first 50, they're like, and there's Xbox app news coming in March at GDC. So it's gonna be interesting to keep an eye on.
It's moving forward, man.
Yep.
So, and again, like you said, it just brings benefits to gamers who are invested in the ecosystem. And again, hopefully, because again, there's no guarantee, but hopefully they can sell it to everybody as a developer and as a publisher, right? Hope they can sell this vision and the benefits as to why this is a good thing, to put your games and to use this to get more players and to keep more players. That's going to be Microsoft and Xbox's job, is to sell it to everybody else, right?
Yep.
Because it's something new. It's different. It's not been tried before. Not right. Again, we're moving out of what has been decades of the same type of ecosystem into something completely new, right? So, and everybody's got a very strong opinion in this industry about what's good and what's not good and about which way they think it's going to go. And Microsoft and Xbox have to sell this vision. So, but yeah, I can't wait to hear. Maybe we get some trickles, maybe we get some ideas of some of the new tech that they're working on and that kind of stuff. Like you said, there was parts of this community who seem to have known something um, that potentially was coming at some
Yeah,
point
there's a
that we didn't
few in
hear about.
particular
Yeah,
that have
yeah,
been right about things in the past, especially one. So it's like
yeah.
I'm like, why is they this excited about what he's seen behind the scenes? You know what I mean? And
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
it's just is interesting. Like if you were to say like 5 years ago or 6 years ago, I would be playing on the cloud as much as I am today. Like, what are you talking about? You know, right? But
Yeah.
because I am, I can see. Okay, what is another 6 years going to look like? You know what I
Right.
mean? And like,
Oh
how
yeah.
good is it going to be? and
If
how many of my
it's really good
games.
for everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we know that
great.
their goal is to have almost every game
Right.
playable that way, right? So, but this is the work. This is the foundation of trying to build this future. And I think a lot of Xbox's future kind of as a platform, ecosystem, storefront hinges on it.
It does. And I'm all for it. Again, is it going to be successful? Are we going to we'll find out down the road. But for the time being, I see where they're going and I like where they're going for me as a gamer. And again,
Yeah.
preservation of games, being able to play games down the road on any device, even if Xbox does stop making consoles at some point. Again, having access to my library in every place makes it so that that doesn't just disappear with the console, with the box, like the standard setup. That I can play it elsewhere if I have access to something, and that could be as simple as Fire Stick on my TV, right? That's what they're shooting for. So if they want that future, then I'm all for it, right? I think it's the best bet for them. They've decided it. They're not going to change. Again, I want it to be the old ways. It's not the old ways. So I look at this from high level and go, hey, if we're going to do this, giving me access to more games and more places anytime I want to, having my library potentially someday down the road everywhere, cool, great, fantastic. Because when anytime I use it now with the cloud saves, and I don't use cloud like you do, but just anytime I use the cloud saves going from PC to console and back again, all within a matter of minutes, and it just works flawlessly, Mav, is freaking unbelievable. Saving Avowed on my console, right? And then moving to PC because I want to look at the pretty graphics and all the good shit. And I move the PC and I fire up the PC and I get it loaded up and I push continue. And there's where I was just standing on my console, 5 minutes previously. There's nothing better than that, man. And that's something that we never would have dreamed it would have been possible back in the day. So if they want to push that even further, I'm good, man. I'm good. Let's go. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Real quick, speaking of preservation, too, by the way, GOG is simply fantastic. They have a new, they've always had a preservation program, but they've been expanding it greatly with the threat to gaming and games disappearing. I'm sure you guys probably have heard about this. They just got Dino Crisis 1 and 2 is up on GOG. So you can go play. If you got PC, go get Dino Crisis. They're in my cart. I'm going to buy them both. Obviously, we want new Dino Crisis from Capcom, but if we can't get them, GOG's got them on PC at least, so I can go play the originals, right? So they're doing that. Just to let everybody know, because of what happened with Monolith, they are speeding up Fear as part of their preservation program. Fear Platinum right now on GOG is 99 cents. So if you want to pick up Fear, go do that. But they also have they've got Fear Platinum, Fear Project 2, Project Origin plus Reborn, and Fear 3 all together for $7.97 on GOG right now. So I just want to support GOG because they are doing a lot to preserve games. They are making wish lists, which you can go vote on and add to for games that they try to get into the preservation group. That's how they got Dino Crisis in there, 1 and 2. So GOG's doing good work, man. And that's all we can ask for nowadays. I love it. So really cool, really dope.
Absolutely.
And last thing before we got just real quick, guys, want to shout out a new, again, as much as we talk about a lot of closures, a lot of people getting laid off, there's a whole other side of this industry that is still producing new developers and new studios. And that's what shows that there's still healthiness to this industry. It's not completely meltdown mode. I think the big boys are learning lessons, but small studios are still flourishing, exploding. We've seen that in the East, and we're starting to see it in Europe too, as well. Expedition 33 is a perfect example, right? So, there's another studio that was formed in Ukraine by former 4A devs. So the 4A studio is the breakaway studio from Stalker that went and made the Metro series. Now some of the devs from 4A have broken away and they started a new studio called Reburn. Okay. They just dropped their first trailer of the new game. What, 2 days ago, Mav, or yesterday? Was it yesterday? No, it was today. It was today.
Today,
Today.
yeah.
Okay, okay, the game is called La Quimera. Don't ask me why they came up with this name. I don't get the name, but whatever. Okay, this is from Shinobi 602. I need you all as gamers to go check out this trailer, by the way. Okay. This is what small studios can do nowadays. And this is why I say this is the golden age. This is why I say, even despite the fact that I think that there's going to be contraction, obviously there's already been contraction, but I think we're going to see a lot more contraction, that I'm not worried for the industry as a whole, because some of these devs have learned their lessons and they're going back and making games to make games. Okay. This studio right here, go check out their first trailer, Mav. Did you watch this trailer yet?
Not yet. No.
Okay. So we got the initial screenshots, I think yesterday or maybe whatever it was. I again, my days run together. But I said, holy shit, some of this stuff is Killzone. And I said, if Sony's not going to make Killzone, I guess other studios are going to go make Killzone. I think we got the screenshots. We got the stills yesterday. And I saw those screenshots, a special shout out to Special Nick too. Sometimes he listens to this show. He said the same thing on Twitter. I had said it in our DMs and he said it on Twitter, and I hit him up. I hit him up on his post and said, yeah, I just said this in the DMs, because some of it does look like Killzone. But I'll give you some details we got here, and this is from Shinobi 602. Again, shout out to him. Go follow him. He does great work. Created by Reburn, formerly 4A Games, Ukraine, of the acclaimed Metro series, in development for PC, running on the 4A engine. So they obviously have gotten permission to use the 4A engine. If you guys have played Metro, the entire Metro series still holds up to this day, with the next gen updates they did on the console. Ridiculously gorgeous graphics. Gorgeous. The lighting, oh my God, on the Series X is unbelievable. Engaging an atmospheric story-driven sci-fi first-person shooter, playable in single player or up to 3 total players in co-op. I don't like the 3-player co-op. That's become a thing. I'd rather have 4-player, but fine. You give me 3 players, you're giving me co-op, I'm good with it. Setting dystopian future in Latin America in 2064, where most nations have become extinct. Society and global systems collapse from natural and human-made catastrophes in the 2030s and 40s. New microstates rely on mercenary forces in the golden age. Hey, shout out to them using golden age of PMCs, private military companies. Players use an exoskeleton in combat, which you can customize with a range of parts, abilities, weapons, etc., for your desired playstyle and against different enemies. Factions face off against different factions like lightly armored charging bandits, stealthy long-range sharpshooters, or heavy shielded and armed elite fighters. Fight against hostile robots that can fly, scale walls, and crawl across ceilings, with more advanced military modes requiring unique tactics to defeat. Again, I'm going to paste the link for y'all in the chat. If you haven't watched this trailer, please go check this out. It looks phenomenal already. Like already, Mav. It's crazy. But this looks like a gamer's ass game. Okay, that's what it looks like. No bullshit. Looks like they could have a cool trophy-filled sci-fi story, dope, whatever. I don't care. But the action, the gunfighting already looks great. 4A, again, the Metro series still holds up to this day. They do great work over there. If this is some of their talent, have faith that they're going to pull off a first-person shooter. No problem. That's what Metro is. Just looks great. And this is why I love this industry, Mav. Smaller teams, breakaway, new studios, indie teams, AA, AAA, doesn't matter. They can make games like this, and they don't need $300 million budgets like the big boys, Mav. They don't need $200 million budgets. They don't even need $50 million budgets.
Yeah,
And they can go make a game that looks like this, right? Looks freaking
absolutely.
great.
It's
Can't
a
wait, man.
showpiece type game if it comes out and actually looks like that, right? It's
Yeah,
kind of early to tell, right? 100%, but like we've seen teams pull this stuff off numerous times already
more
with
and
these
more.
smaller teams. So, I
More and
think
more now.
I'm guessing they're probably using UE5. Is
Hmm.
what? No.
I said they're using the 4A engine.
Oh,
The
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Metro engine. Yeah, so they are
Right.
already experienced with the 4A engine. So that's yeah, and that 4A engine is amazing. It's a really good engine. So
Um, can't wait to see how it comes out, man.
yep.
Yeah, like for every major big publisher studio that like I said, like we've lost
Yep.
and
Yep.
stuff. You see these small teams rise from the ashes and produce stuff that's like, wow, okay, well, $500 million may produce shit, but maybe $50 million or less can produce some
You're right.
amazing stuff with the right team. You know,
Can.
like absolutely can. So
Yep.
when people always are like, we might be looking at a day and age when there's only double A games,
Right.
right? And I hear that conversation a lot because like the cost and the bloated budgets and all this stuff of gaming, and I'm like, these small teams seem to pull off triple A pretty well. You know, if something like these games, right, would have been considered double A in the past, I don't
Mm,
care. Like all
right.
I care is what's in front of my eyes and face. I don't care what the budget is. Like just put
Nope.
something in front of me that's gonna melt my brain. Like I want to see it. I want to have fun, and it doesn't care. I don't care what the budget was, how much it cost to make. If it's a 50-man team spending
Yep.
50 million, or if it's a 1,000-person team spending 500. I've seen shit games from both sides companies. I've seen game changer kind of games from both sides companies, right? And if this is the new double A, triple A
Yep.
doesn't need to exist for me. That is like whatever. We can just get rid of the
Yeah.
A's. It doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
Like it's just the games from small teams can look so good now.
Yes. Absolutely. That's the playing field's leveling out.
Oh yeah.
That's what I love. Right. That's the best part about this industry at this point is that you get these smaller teams that can compete with the big boys and show them how to do it better. And you got teams in the East that are employing the old ways of the West games uh, at a much cheaper rate because of where they're
Yeah.
located, but with much smaller teams and because they kind of work the way that the teams in the West used to until crunch became a big thing and all sorts of kind of stuff came about
Mhm.
the working atmosphere. But again, that's something that talked about a lot. The differences nowadays, maybe some of the it's just maybe sometimes the old ways were better for game making, right? And we've tried to reinvent the wheel in some very positive manner that just kind of has unfortunately lost some shine to the gaming industry for certain devs, right, and certain publishers. But we've got places that are still doing really really fantastic work, and we'll continue to. And that's why I'm so bullish on the future of video gaming. No matter what's happening as far as devs and studio closures, I still think we're in a good spot, and I think that the industry will absolutely 1000% survive. And I'll be playing games for another 40 years, as I already have been. So
Yeah.
I think it's
Absolutely,
great.
man.
Yep. Um,
Love it.
let's get everybody out of here. I love it too, man. Appreciate everybody again. Shorter show tonight. I gotta get out of here. I got really early start tomorrow. But I appreciate everybody coming out on a Thursday night. Again, not a huge week of news, but some cool, interesting stuff. Again, both mixed bag, both bad and good stuff. And again, as Mav and I are sitting here talking, and we start figuring out what this year still looks like without Fable, and then next year what it looks like crazy. Like that is so goddamn exciting to me, man. So just thank you all for coming out and enjoying hopefully enjoying your time here with me and Mav, and giving us your most precious gift, which is your time, because you can never get it back again. So thank you all for being here on another episode of PM and the PM. But Mav, what do we got coming up, man? What do you got going on this weekend? Any Mav casts? Any streams? What else are we doing?
Yeah,
What's
I got a
going on?
couple. I keep putting like I've been
Yeah.
busy. I haven't been able to do the streams I want to do. Got a couple streams coming up. Maybe this. I'm hoping this weekend for sure. I vowed been wanting to stream, and also have another game called Mark of the Deep that I
Ooh,
want to stream.
cool.
It looks really cool. After that, yeah, I got Xbox Ultimate Podcast tomorrow night, Pong Soul, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And looking forward to that. Hopefully, we have some even more fun news to talk about, but I'm sure we'll have some more interesting thoughts on Fable and Monolith and the other things going on in the industry. I think Jasper said he'll be there tomorrow too.
Nice.
So looking forward to that. And besides that, back on FSP on Mondays as always. And hope everyone has a great night. Thank everybody for being here. You guys rock, and keeping our shows going with the chat. You absolutely amazing. Audio listeners, shout out to all of you as well, and thank you all for listening. If you like the content, hey, leave a review on audio. greatly helps people find us there as well. What you got going on, Pong?
Brother, guy, I just saw a freaking clip from RoboCop Rogue City. I still haven't
Yeah,
played that game. I need to
it's
play
so good.
RoboCop too. Like, there's so many freaking games. And my year this year is gonna be so crazy. I'm gonna have less and less time to play. Next year, when I get settled, when things, I'm gonna have so many games. And we just talked about how crazy next year is. I love this industry, man. I'm set. I'm set for like 3-4 years. Anyways, um, again, thank you everybody for being here. You know how to find me, Pong Soul, everywhere. Follow me, I'll follow you back. I should be able to make it tomorrow night. So that should not. I should see you guys on Xbox Ultimate. Again, no matter how much of the family gets there, right here on this channel, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time, Xbox Ultimate. We have lots of good laughs, but we also have lots of good gaming talk all the time every Friday night. So Xbox Ultimate tomorrow night. And then, of course, Saturday morning. Now, Steele and I haven't discussed quite yet and finalized what we're going to do. We may have a regular show. We may have a Monster Hunter Wild stream. I think we're leaning towards Monster Hunter Wilds. That was the last time we had talked. So yeah, but something Saturday morning. Steele and I will be around Saturday morning doing something for Living Split Screen. Yeah, we're gonna have a blast because you know how we get down when we game together too. It's always a fun time because we chat too and we chat topics come up or whatever else. But it should be fun. You can watch Steel carry me around in Monster Hunter Wilds. It'll be a blast. He'll be killing everything, and I'll just be doing my little 5 damage up front with my shield, my big lance, or something like that. Yeah, get ready for Living Split Screen Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, or excuse me, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Every Saturday, Living Split Screens, all one word. And then Sunday nights, yes, we have officially started this 2 weeks in a row. Sunday is the new day. 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Central is the new time for the Shop Podcast. So PTK Blam's channel. It's been fun. It's been a great way to end my weekend. Perfect time. In fact, still got light outside. It's great. So Sunday night, the Shop Podcast, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Central Time, PTK Blam, Fuzzy Belvedere, myself, and we usually have a guest or two. We held down the fort last week as the Three Amigos, but we'll see who's going to show up this week. Join us for the Shop Podcast. And the next week, it starts all over again. Double Barrel Games, the channel. Boomsticks the man, 5 days a week. I'm no longer on his shows, but the man has done so much in this community. I will continue to shout him out. An Xbox Factor podcast every Tuesday. All good things green, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time for that. And of course, my week starts right here next week on Thursday with this man. And it's PM in the PM, Pong and Mav in the PM, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time. We should be back to normal time next week unless something else shows up, but I don't think it will. Otherwise, everybody, it's the golden age of gaming. Please have a great Friday. Have a great start to your weekend. Whatever you got going on. Hope you get some gaming in. Play what you love. Love what you play. And I'll talk to y'all real soon. Mel, get us out of here, brother.
Have a good one, everybody. Peace out, and thank you so much. Bye bye.